A very beautiful girl suddenly appeared in front of me. I tried to start a conversation, but she asked for 3,000 yuan for the night. Since I didn't have enough money, someone else took her away. Yes, the country bumpkin just now was me. My name is Zhao Wu. In my previous life, I accidentally died from a fall and somehow ended up in this police officer's body. Before, I was the head of a criminal gang, but now I'm just a member of the serious crimes team. Not long ago, I argued with the captain because I didn't want to work overtime. We caused such a scene that I probably won't be staying at the police station much longer. What am I going to do now? Should I return to my old line of work? As I was lost in thought, a system interface suddenly appeared. The Destiny system has been successfully activated. It is randomly selecting a reward for you. I looked at the system with little excitement. After all, everything I had before was gone. What's the point of this system? I don't know anyone in this strange place. Am I really supposed to live alone in this world forever? Just when I was feeling disappointed, I suddenly spotted a stunning girl and my eyes lit up. Wow, this girl is amazing. I quickly approached her to start a conversation, but she immediately told me it would cost 3,000 yuan for the night. I felt a sting of frustration. 3,000? Seriously? I don't even have 1,000 yuan in my account. As I was about to negotiate, the girl was already taken away by another man. I was irritated, and when I saw the man staring at me, I gave him a defiant look. Then I remembered that during the serious crimes team meeting, they had discussed 3 recent cases involving violent assaults with electric batons. The victims were all young women with complicated backgrounds. Most of the incidents happened near nightlife spots like bars. The 3rd victim scratched the attacker's face, managed to get a blood sample, and it's now being analyzed. Zhao Wu thought to himself, that guy has a wound on his face. Could he be the rapist the team is after? But then again, the police are already handling it. Why should I get involved? Still, should I step in and do the right thing? A moment later, in an alley behind the bar, Zhao Wu shamelessly decided to follow along. When it came to tailing people, he was a pro. As he got closer, he saw a man lying on the ground. The man's stiff and awkward posture made it clear he'd been stunned by an electric baton. Zhao Wu was now certain the man in the alley was the rapist who used the baton. He grabbed a baseball bat and walked toward him. Seeing the guy about to attack again, Zhao Wu didn't hesitate. He swung the bat without mercy, and just like that, after the DNA matched, Zhao Wu had successfully cracked his first case. People were confused. Wasn't he just arguing with Captain Liu? How did he end up solving the case? Zhao Wu didn't care about the chatter. What really surprised him was finding out that catching a criminal in this department came with a cash reward. Maybe being a cop wasn't such a bad gig after all. Along with solving the case, the system rewarded Zhao Wu with an invisible eavesdropping device. Once activated, it could secretly listen in without leaving a trace, completely undetectable by any equipment, for 48 hours. Zhao Wu guessed, could this be some kind of special mission system that leads me to criminals? Does 75% completion mean I've completed 75% of a hidden mission? If I hadn't followed that rapist at the bar earlier, my completion rate would have been even lower. No matter how many coincidences the system throws my way, in the end, it's up to me to catch them. Whether or not I seize the opportunity depends on me. Now that I have this mysterious opportunity system, will I be able to solve future cases like I did today? If so, it won't just be about rewards. There will be beautiful women all around me too. With that sweet dream in mind, Zhao Wu drifted off to sleep. But he didn't expect his roommate's snoring to be louder than thunder, leaving him wandering the streets until 5 in the morning. Just as Zhao Wu was thinking about renting a place of his own, the opportunity system activated again. It randomly started assigning him a new reward task. Zhao Wu couldn't help but wonder if this system was somehow based on the principles of the Bagua. A girl staggered toward him, calling for help over and over. As soon as Zhao Wu glanced in her direction, she collapsed on the ground. Later, the news aired the story. A police officer named Zhao Wu discovered an unconscious girl. He quickly stopped the bleeding and called emergency services. The girl, identified as Song Yi, is currently in stable condition and not in any immediate danger. After watching the news report on TV, Zhao Wu felt a little annoyed. This 2D animation-style report is garbage. It doesn't even come close to showing how cool I looked out there. Then Zhao Wu looked at the victim and asked, "Is that right?" The victim exploded with anger and shouted, "It's come to this, and you still haven't even found a trace of the criminal. All you know how to do is come here and ask me questions. You cops do nothing but sit around and waste time." Just like that, Zhao Wu got scolded harshly and was kicked out. But he didn't take it personally. He simply grabbed the case file from his subordinate and started reviewing it. The suspect had been hiding in the car, drugged the victim, then drove to a quiet alley where they cut off the victim's hand. Early in the morning, the victim woke up in the car, panicked, got out, and ran to the nearby KFC to call for help, where she ended up meeting us. At that moment, his subordinate continued, "This is the infamous serial hand-chopping case. There have already been 3 incidents. Our team has been working non-stop for a whole year, and we still haven't found a single clue. You and Captain Liu were bragging before. If you can't solve this case, how are you going to explain that to everyone? Don't forget, if team leader Ku Ping cracks it first, that means you lose. Seeing the worried look on his subordinate's face, Zhao Wu stayed calm and asked, "What's there to be afraid of? Anything can happen. Besides, that amazing system just came online today. Thanks to that system, not only did we catch that guy using the electric baton in the rape case, but we even found a place we're staying at now. As long as this system is in place, I'll be the super detective," he said. Zhao Wu then asked, "What about the other 2 victims? What's the situation?" The first victim, Gao Tian, was a woman who came to our city to attend a concert on April 22nd last year, exactly 1 year ago. After the concert, she was knocked unconscious and had her right hand severed in an underground pedestrian tunnel. The second victim, Yuan Lai Lai, had an even stranger case. She was sleeping at home when she woke up to find her hand missing. What's even more ridiculous is that the thief didn't break into her house, meaning they must have had a key. The strangest thing about all 3 cases is that the criminal has managed to avoid the cameras every time. To this day, we haven't found a single strand of his hair. He's like a ghost. After hearing the details, Zhao Wu coldly remarked, "If I lose, can I borrow some money from you?" A little while later, near the hospital, Zhao Wu took his subordinate for a walk around the area. As they approached, they spotted a camel ahead. The subordinate was about to pull Zhao Wu over for a photo, but suddenly, they heard a shout from behind, "Thief! Thief!" The subordinate quickly recognized it as a theft and urged Zhao Wu to chase after the thief. But Zhao Wu wasn't interested and said, "We're a major crime scene. Why should we bother with catching a petty thief? Did you want to take a picture? Hurry up, the camel's getting impatient." Before Zhao Wu could finish, a girl came running from behind, out of breath. Zhao Wu's eyes widened in shock as he exclaimed, "What? Isn't this my girlfriend from my past life? Could it be that I'm not the only one who traveled through time?" As this thought crossed his mind, Zhao Wu became anxious. He immediately kicked his feet into the camel and chased after the thief. Seeing that the situation was getting bad, the thief quickly pulled a dagger from his chest. At this moment, Zhao Wu caught up and seeing the thief draw his knife, slapped him hard. "Damn, you dare to pull a knife," he shouted. Just as the thief was about to retaliate, Zhao Wu grabbed a street sign and hit him again. The thief, now beaten and crying, was left helpless. Just like that, the chase between the police and the thief ended. Later, at a nearby police station, the officers couldn't stop yelling at Zhao Wu. "Who here has ever done something like this? You're destroying public property. People are about to call in and blow up the whole station. You trampled the entire alley with your camel. Now it's unrecognizable." Zhao Wu, of course, didn't care. Suddenly, the girl he had saved, Tao Jia, took the initiative to thank him. "I work as a nurse at the central hospital. If you ever need anything, you can find me there." Zhao Wu, however, was thinking to himself, "This isn't the Tao Jia from the other world. Even though she has the same name and looks very similar, she couldn't possibly be a nurse. Besides, she's already." Thinking of this, Zhao Wu immediately said, "If you don't mind, let's exchange contact information. No matter who she is, I can't miss this chance again." A moment later, the system suddenly displayed a new notification. The current encounter had been completed. With a 72% success rate, Zhao Wu received an invisible tracking device and realized that the system's encounters were random. He wanted to solve the case, but encountering Tao Jia meant he needed to study the system's patterns carefully to use it to his advantage. Otherwise, he might end up getting involved in matters unrelated to the case. He had to rely on his own abilities to solve the case and needed more relevant information. With that in mind, Zhao Wu led his subordinate to the office of Team B from the Major Crimes Unit. To his surprise, the team leader of Team B sarcastically remarked, "Zhao Wu, do you think we're just a bunch of paper-pushing bureaucrats? From top to bottom, all we do is investigate and interview or watch surveillance footage. We're the ones solving problems with action, not just running our mouths like you." Zhao Wu completely ignored the team leader and fixed his gaze intently on the case analysis chart of the wall behind him. Meanwhile, the team leader thought earlier the higher-ups have been doing well, and that team can just move people around as needed. If someone shows potential, we'll solve the electric bait rape case quickly, and I'll be promoted to team leader in no time. But now the case was being taken from him by Zhao Wu. Why didn't I notice this before? Team A has this reckless guy who suddenly swoops in and steals my case like this. Zhao Wu looked at the case analysis chart, thinking to himself, could it be that in my past life I was always caught because these people are so meticulous? I guess my picture must have been posted here a few times before, right? At that moment, the team leader stepped in front of Zhao Wu. "I heard you made a bet with Captain Liu that you'd solve the hand-chopping case on your own. Is it because you don't have any leads, so you came to our team for help? Do you need me to lend you a hand? Zhao Wu gave the person a disdainful look. After a brief silence, he directly pushed them against the wall and said, "Thanks, but don't misunderstand. I came here just to ask for some materials on a hand-chopping case. If you're worried I'll solve it before you and steal all the credit, then forget it. I can't help but feel sorry for you guys. You've worked so hard and still can't catch the culprit." With that, Zhao Wu casually walked away as if nothing had happened. Suddenly, Zhao Wu couldn't help but smile to himself. Luckily, he had smartly set up a hidden eavesdropping device on the whiteboard, courtesy of the system. This time, all the information they had would be mine. After all, no one else but me can see this. Then Zhao Wu listened in and heard that after testing, Liu Nian had been drugged with 2 types of anesthetics. One was an inhaled drug and the other was an intravenous injection. One of them was even used to anesthetize large animals. Zhao Wu was shocked. Could it be veterinary drugs? The voice kept playing in the headphones. The victim's right hand had been severed with a single powerful blow, like an axe strike. The killer had dragged the first victim into the underground pedestrian tunnel. It was likely that the killer was a man with great strength, but the forensic expert pointed out that the cut avoided the hardest bone in the wrist, which meant the killer could still be a woman. Investigators found traces of adhesive in Liu Nian's car. The killer must have used a special kind of reflective film. During the incident, many traffic cameras captured the car, but none of them could make out any details of the driver's face. After hearing this, Zhao Wu frowned and started thinking. Why go to such lengths to hide their face? What would their facial features reveal? Could it be that the killer is a woman? The 3 victims didn't know each other at all. Was the killer just picking people at random? Maybe they were mentally unstable or had some twisted reason. But then, why take the hand and not the foot? After thinking it over, Zhao Wu began to suspect that the killer's motive was revenge. His teammates from Tima looked confused. How do you know that? Zhao Wu turned around with confidence and said, just a wild guess. But in another place, a woman was sitting on a stone table, writing Liu Nian's name on the whiteboard. It seemed like she was about to carry out the 4th hand-chopping incident. Meanwhile, Zhao Wu stayed up all night to reanalyze the case. The killer hid the severed hands in a place only he knew. Every time he took them out, his hatred would lessen a bit. Then he would store them away like trophies. So why was it that every victim had their right hand chopped off? Zhao Wu looked at his own right hand, almost thinking he had a clue. But to his surprise, Zhao Wu shouted out loud, "System, give me a hint." As time passed into the morning, Zhao Wu, exhausted from his sleepless night, received a phone call. The caller was a female student. She sweetly said, "We're partners, right?" Remember before, Zhao Wu led a female student to the back of the mountain to hack an account and sell it for money. When the female student begged him, Zhao Wu immediately replied, "I'll keep your secret, but don't talk about the dirty money." Then Zhao Wu tricked the girl and rented her father's house. It seemed like he had picked the right person that night. The one offering the reward was this little girl. But to make the house rental go smoothly, Zhao Wu still asked, "Just say it straight. What's the deal?" The female student's eyes lit up as she answered, "Come with me to school for the parent-teacher meeting." This caught Zhao Wu off guard. "What are you joking about?" But the female student wouldn't give up. She hugged Zhao Wu tightly. "I blocked my dad's messages, copied everything to your phone." Zhao Wu acted worried. "If your dad finds out and kicks me out of the house, where am I going to sleep?" The female student then tried her final move, acting cute. "Dad, help me out. If you don't have a place to sleep, I'll give you my room." "Please, Dad." The female student looked at Zhao Wu with a smile, thinking he'd agreed. But to her surprise, Zhao Wu simply said, "Call me Dad, and I'm still not going." A moment later, Zhao Wu still obediently went to the school for the parent-teacher meeting. Earlier, the female student had threatened him, "We're like grasshoppers tied to the same rope. If my dad goes to the meeting and finds out I skipped class and hacked someone's account, you'll stop making money. And don't forget, you're a cop. If this blows up, it's going to get serious." Zhao Wu had no choice. He didn't expect this sneaky little girl to trick him like that. As he watched the piano performance on stage, his thoughts began to wander again. Such beautiful hands. What would be the best way to cut them off? Then Zhao Wu overheard a conversation between 2 people on stage. Normally, you wouldn't guess this guy was that good at piano. One of them said, "Ha ha, this is nothing. I haven't played the piano in half a year. 20 years ago, I almost got accepted into the Capital Music Academy after competing in a piano contest right here. If I had pushed a little harder back then, my life might have turned out completely different. That was the golden era of music in our city. A lot of talented people came from this place." Hearing that, Zhao Wu started to piece things together. He remembered that the second victim, Yun Lai Lai, was a music professor at a university. Her piano skills had to be strong, and the first victim, Gao Tian, had his hands cut off on the day of a music concert. After that, Zhao Wu immediately called his subordinate and told her to check if there was anything related to the piano. If both people were connected to the piano, then the third victim, Liu Nian, might be too. Right as the phone rang, his subordinate informed him the concert Gao Tian performed in was a piano tour. Zhao Wu got so excited when he heard the news that he blurted out, "Damn," which made some of the other parents around him visibly annoyed. He kept asking, "What about Liu Nian?" All three of them had reached piano level 10. It was just that they had taken the certification at different times. Zhao Wu then told his subordinate to dig into their piano training backgrounds. Who were their classmates back then? Since this is about revenge, the killer must have known them. They had to know the victims could play piano. There's a good chance the killer plays too. But what exactly happened between them that led to such a deep grudge? Suddenly, Zhao Wu remembered the conversation between the two people on stage earlier. 20 years ago, I took part in a piano competition here. I almost got accepted into the Capo Music Academy. Right away, Zhao Wu was sure it all came down to that competition. The killer had joined the same contest as the victims, been pushed out because of them, and had held a grudge ever since, leading to this act of revenge. Just thinking about it made him even more excited, but the constant ringing of the phone interrupted the teacher speaking on stage, and he couldn't hold back anymore. He was about to go have a word with Zhao Wu. At that moment, one of Zhao Wu's subordinates reported new findings. They had confirmed that all three individuals had participated in the 10th annual citywide high school piano competition. All three had made it to the finals. Hearing this, Zhao Wu shouted, "Oh shit!" He was so overwhelmed with emotion he couldn't contain it. Then he quickly asked, "Where was the competition held? Who else took part?" His subordinate quickly responded, "This was 18 years ago. The investigator needs more time to dig up the full details. But we do have the venue. It was held at the music hall of our own 12th high school." Zhao Wu turned around to look and confirmed it was indeed this place. Right then, the teacher had walked up to Zhao Wu. Just as he was about to scold him, before he could say a word, Zhao Wu grabbed him and asked urgently, "You have the list of participants from the 10th piano competition?" Zhao Wu was now more convinced than ever the culprit had to be on that list. Then Zhao Wu, along with a few teachers, began searching through the list of winners from the competition 20 years ago. But with so many documents, the two teachers were at a loss for words. "Maybe we should just skip this," one suggested. "Yeah, it's been too long. These competition records probably don't even mean anything anymore. They've likely been discarded by now." Zhao Wu, however, calmly reassured them, "You don't need to rush. Just keep looking. I'll stay here and encourage everyone." Suddenly, the sound of the bell rang, and Zhao Wu's assistant announced that they had found the list of piano competition winners. Zhao Wu smiled quietly to himself, then went to the home of the 10th person on the list, Zhao Shan. Zhao Shan, holding her pregnant belly, said, "Our competition back then was quite grand. Provincial leaders attended, and the judges were all very professional teachers from art universities. The top 3 were directly chosen by prestigious schools, and the 4th to 6th place winners were picked by the provincial teacher training program. After 6th place, people like me were just considered regular contestants." After hearing this, Zhao Wu whispered to himself, maybe it was because of that competition that the killer ended up living a life they never wanted. The subordinates were furious. This was already the 3rd victim, and the woman in question was the prime suspect. But with her belly that big, how could she possibly have chopped off someone's hand? If the killer isn't on the list, are we supposed to eliminate all the contestants in the competition? But Zhao Wu actually thought it was a good idea. Why don't we just arrest her now? At that moment, the subordinates looked at Zhao Wu and sensed something had changed. Zhao Wu didn't hide it and said, "Well, in my past life, I was part of the underworld. I just got transported here and I'm still not used to being a cop." But the subordinates had something else in mind. "I bet the dark circles under your eyes are getting worse. You should get some rest. You barely slept these past few days. Maybe after a good nap, you'll be able to think clearly and find a lead. I believe you're on the right track. This hand-chopping case is definitely connected to the competition." Zhao Wu then remembered that earlier, the system had shown the opportunity this time was completed. 88% progressed, and he had received a universal unlocking device capable of cracking both standard and 6-dimensional electronic locks. That really surprised him. With such a high completion rate, could discovering clues during that parent-teacher meeting actually be related to the system? Once they got back, Zhao Wu decided to reboot the system and check. Then the two of them went home to rest. Zhao Wu had already figured it out. If the killer was anything like last year and carried out the hand-chopping every 3 days, there was a strong chance tomorrow would bring the 4th victim. He had to catch the killer before that happened. After a restless night at 5 a.m., a sudden scream came from outside the door. "Zhao Wu, open the door. I heard you coughing in there last night." Zhao Wu woke up groggily, and then it hit him. Yesterday, He had ruined the parent-teacher meeting because of the case, and Jiang Xiaoqin was definitely coming to confront him. Realizing this, he quickly jumped out of bed and scrambled to find a place to hide. Just as Jiang Xiaoqin was about to enter, she noticed the room was empty. She checked around again, but still didn't find anyone. Frustrated, she slammed the door and stormed off. Only then did Zhao Wu sneakily climb over to the balcony of the neighboring room, almost forgetting that this girl was the landlord and had a key to his room. He tried opening the door again, only to find it locked. Dan, why did this little brat lock the door? How am I supposed to get in now? Maybe I should try the next door house? He remembered that the landlord had once mentioned the neighboring house had 4 beautiful women, all of whom worked at a nightclub. Zhao Wu was well acquainted with that line of work, and since it was still before 6 a.m., they surely hadn't finished their shifts yet. With this thought in mind, he headed to the next door. Sure enough, no one was home. But to his surprise, a beautiful woman in a red dress stepped out from the bedroom. Zhao Wu was stunned and blurted out, "Oh shit." When the neighbor noticed someone had run into her house, she shouted loudly. Zhao Wu quickly covered her mouth, silently thinking to himself, "This time, no matter how much I jump into the Yellow River, I won't be able to wash away my sins." Once the woman clearly saw his face, she happily called out, "Officer, is it really you? Do you remember me? You're the one who saved me from that rapist with the electric bacon." Zhao Wu remembered the incident at the bar the other day. It was her. He immediately explained, "I live next door, but I got locked out on the balcony. I thought no one was home, so I was trying to find a way out, but I didn't expect you to be here." The woman hearing this explained, "That's fine, I'm just getting back from work. It's just that the whole thing with the rapist has left me a bit traumatized, so I wanted to rest for a while. But there's one thing I find strange. How did you know that guy would attack me? Was it your cop instinct, or were you following me?" Zhao Wu replied seriously, "None of the women there were more beautiful than you. Maybe my taste in women and the criminals are the same." His words immediately made the woman laugh. "Officer Zhao, you're truly a master of love. My roommate just got back at noon, and this is a rare chance. How about we—" Just as the two were about to start their cultural exchange performance, the woman's phone lit up. Zhao Wu noticed that her wallpaper was a photo of her playing the piano in the past. The woman said, "That was back when I was still in school." Zhao Wu immediately became interested. "You play the piano too?" The woman smiled and said, "Surprising, right? My mom made me practice since I was a kid. I actually reached level 10 in piano. I even took part in our school's piano competition back in high school." Zhao Wu quickly asked, "Which time was that?" "The 10th one." "Why?" he asked. In his mind, Zhao Wu thought, so she was in the same batch as the suspect. He kept asking, "You know Gao Tian, Yuan Lai Lai, or Lu Lai Na?" They ranked 5th and 6th. The woman looked unsure. That was the finals. "I wasn't that lucky. I didn't even make the top 20. Zhao Wu said, "Come on, are you investigating again like a cop? Do you know about the hand-chopping case?" The woman was startled. "You be the one that's been all over the internet lately?" Zhao Wu continued, "Everyone with their hand cut off had taken part in that same competition." At that moment, the woman started to feel uneasy. "Are you saying I could be next? So the current targets are all finalists. If you remember any detail about the competition, tell me. Anyone, anything, just say it. It's the only way we'll be able to solve this case quickly." At that moment, the woman paused to think. "Now that you mention it," she said, "something strange did happen back then." A little later, Zhao Wu was discussing the new lead with his subordinate. Before the competition, Lai Dan was already known as a piano prodigy in the county. She wasn't even 12 yet, but her piano skills were already above level 10. With talent like that, she was expected to make it to the finals easily. But the night before the final round, she suddenly withdrew from the competition. The subordinate guessed maybe someone paid her off. If she dropped out, they'd get a spot in the finals. But Zhao Wu didn't think so. He heard that Lai Dan's family was struggling financially. She'd even sold her ancestral home to pay for her music training. This was her one and only chance. No matter how much someone offered, she wouldn't have given it up. It was exactly because this was her only shot. Only by making it into the top 3 could her life really change. That something must have happened during that competition. The subordinate asked, "So what do we do now?" Even the police database has no records of her family. It's like they vanished into thin air. Zhao Wu first checked the status of the next victim, then went looking for an expert to help find that once famous girl. But the subordinate hesitated. "You mean Zhang Jingfeng? Asking him for help will cost a lot. He only works if there's something in it for him. People on the team have lost count of how many times he's ticked them off. Everyone even gave him a nickname, King Eel." Zhao Wu perked up when he heard that. "Then I'll take you eel hunting." At the same time, the scene shifted to a billiard hall. Zhao Wu had just arrived. The guy on the other side looked down on him a little and said, "Well, what breeze blew Mr. Zhao in today?" Zhao Wu remembered how he'd called the blonde guy the other day to ask for a favor, but the guy dodged it with some excuse about having diarrhea. Now Zhao Wu had come in person, getting straight to the point. Are you helping or not? Just give me a straight answer. The guy acted like it was no big deal. Why the rush? It's just business. The people around him kept mocking. Is this guy an idiot or what? It's not like someone in his family just died. Yeah, seriously, what a stiff. The guy continued, it's rare for all of us to be together like this. Let's play a couple of games first. Zhao Wu did react right away. How big are we playing? The guy looked interested. Oh, Mr. Zhao knows the game. We all get paid by the state, right? So how about 50 yuan per cue stick? Sound good. How many hits do I get? He laughed. What's with that? Hit as many times as you want. In the next second, Zhao Wu snapped a cue stick in half. One stick down, 50 yuan. Then another. Then a third. By the time he broke the fourth, the gangsters were furious. Damn it, are you looking to die? But to his surprise, Zhao Wu slapped him hard. Don't you know you've got bad breath? And you even had the nerve to kick me. Didn't your mom teach you to brush your teeth morning and night? The gangsters got angry and immediately called for backup. Get me something right now so I can beat him to death. Seeing the situation unfold, Zhao Wu gave instructions. You, go stand over there and don't move. It's been a while since I stretched my muscles anyway. As the group rushed at him, Zhao Wu took down one person with each punch, knocking out the entire gang. When the others saw all their guys taken down, they completely lost the arrogant attitude they had before. Brother Zhao, I'll start looking into it for you right away. Zhao Wu didn't waste time. He grabbed the guy and carried him off. Let's go. Next time, drinks are on me. A little while later, Zhang Jingfeng confirmed the location. Everyone gets sick at some point. No matter how much someone changes their name or identity, their medical records remain. Her dad was hospitalized a few times for heart problems 15 years ago. Her mom was in the oncology ward just last May. The subordinate looked shocked. So they never actually left the city? The man continued. This is her registered address, but it's possible they used a fake one. When they got to the address, Zhao Wu looked around. The place was less than 100 meters from where the third victim's hand was chopped off. She was able to avoid the cameras in the alley either because she was so familiar with the area or because she lived there. After cutting off her hand, she simply walked home without a care. Is this really what someone would do for fame and fortune? At this point, Zhao Wu and the others had arrived at Lai Dan's house. Is Lai Dan here? After they entered, Zhao Wu immediately asked, Did your daughter used to play the piano? Lai Dan's mother, looking worn out, replied, Piano was the biggest taboo in our house. After her father passed away, we never spoke of it again. Zhao Wu pressed further. What happened? Lai Dan's mother began to tell the story from years ago. Dan was always a very determined child. She used to study music in the county, city, and even the province and won awards. Over 10 years ago, at that competition in the second high school, she was the third contestant to make it to the finals. Lai Dan, feeling she wasn't far behind the top two, decided to make her performance for the final round even harder. The organizers had arranged a practice session the day before. She was the last one to go. She practiced with such focus. Suddenly, she let out a terrible scream. There was blood all over the piano and the floor. Her right middle finger had been deliberately severed, damaging both the tendon and the joint. After being rushed to the hospital, the doctor said, If you can find a small piece of her finger that was cut off and bring it here, we may be able to reattach it. Otherwise, she could be permanently disabled. For a child who viewed the piano as her life, losing the ability to move her finger was like a death sentence. So her father quickly rushed back to the second theater to search again, but he found that the blood on the piano was no longer there. The piano had been cleaned and Dan's fingertip was nowhere to be found. After that, the organizers didn't want Dan's incident to affect the other contestants, so they kept it a secret until the competition ended. However, at that time, the police couldn't find any evidence. They only said that the thing that cut her finger was a razor blade, carefully placed in a gap between the black keys of the piano. That spot wasn't used often, and only Dan, by choosing that piece, would have played there. Plus, it was a very strong note. The person who placed the razor blade was extremely jealous of Dan's talent, worried that they would lose to her. Dan's hand, although slightly improved after physical therapy, would still be filled with fear whenever she saw a piano. The damage wasn't just physical, it hurt her heart too. Her father, affected by the stress, developed heart problems, was hospitalized several times, and eventually passed away. After hearing Lai Dan's mother's account, Zhao Wu concluded that, based on the information available, she was the prime suspect, though there was still a lack of evidence. Zhao Wu then looked toward the locked door behind him and asked, Whose room is that? Lai Dan's mother told Zhao Wu that's Dan's room. She's at work right now. She's been performing with the theater troupe in the countryside for the past few days, and she probably won't be back for a few more days. Zhao Wu thought to himself, the murderer used reflective film to shield themselves inside the victim's car. That's something the theater troupe commonly uses. Then Zhao Wu spoke honestly to Lai Dan's mother. To be honest with you, your daughter is currently involved in a case. Someone is trying to harm her. It could be the person who placed the razor blade years ago, or maybe she holds some crucial evidence. That's why we need to check her room. Lai Dan's mother, although reluctant to let anyone into her daughter's room, explained that her daughter wouldn't like it and would get angry if she found out. Zhao Wu reassured her, don't worry, we're just making sure she's safe. We won't let her know anyone's been in her room. We're professionals. As Zhao Wu pulled out a master key and unlocked the door the moment it opened, a skull suddenly appeared in front of them. This really startled the officers, and one of them even wanted to call the police. It wasn't until Lai Dan's mother turned on the light that things felt a bit calmer. Then Zhao Wu asked, has your daughter studied medicine or anything related to anesthesia or anatomy? Lai Dan's mother answered honestly, no, but she did work as an assistant at a veterinary clinic. Zhao Wu remembered the earlier report. Tests had shown that Liu Nian had been drugged with two types of anesthetics. One was an inhalant and the other an intravenous injection, one of which was used for anesthetizing large animals. All the victims had been drugged before their hands were severed. Zhao Wu looked around the room and asked, why is there not even a table in here? As Lai Dan's mother anxiously worried, Zhao Wu lifted the bed, checked underneath, then set it back down and directly said, found it. Your daughter really has very important information. It will help a lot with our investigation. Please wait in the living room for a moment while my colleague and I take pictures for evidence. Lai Dan's mother, still very worried, asked, so, is my daughter in danger? Zhao Wu lied to reassure her, saying, don't worry, I'll have our colleagues protect her. After seeing Lai Dan's mother out, one of his subordinates, still confused, asked, Captain Zhao, why did you lie to her like that? Zhao Wu didn't explain much. He simply opened the bed frame, revealing all the severed hands of the victims along with the tools used in the crimes hidden inside. This left his subordinate in awe of him. Captain Zhao, you're really impressive. How did you know there was something wrong in her room? Zhao Wu explained if someone still locks their bedroom door at home, that in itself is suspicious. The hand Lai Dan injured years ago was her right hand, just like the victims. Her mother had surgery last May. The timing is perfect after 2 incidents of severed hands. After 9 months of chemotherapy, her condition stabilized, and only then did she carry out the third hand chopping attack. Now, all the missing evidence is complete. All of this was prepared for the hand chopping. Here's the translation of the text. Now we can explain those strange and bizarre methods of committing the crime. On the 24th, Lai Dan went to a concert with her first victim, Gao Tian. After the concert, she followed him. She drugged Gao Tian and dragged him into the electrical control room. After chopping off his hand, she didn't rush to leave the scene. Instead, she calmly placed Gao Tian's hand in a jar of formaldehyde and hid it in a ventilation duct. After that, she crawled into the ventilation duct and hid there. Near dawn, she blended in with the workers heading to work and left the gym. As for the hand, she didn't retrieve it until 2 months after the incident. On the day she chopped off the hand, she went directly to the roof next door to the house of her second victim, Yuan Lai. She stayed there until late on the 25th, climbing up the ladder to Yuan Li's roof. She had already prepared the key to the victim's house. Yuan Li's house had been wiretapped, so Lai Dan knew that night Yuan Lai was home alone. After chopping off Yuan Li's hand, she hid in the basement for 7 days before leaving. She had even prepared a toilet, making sure to leave no traces behind. When her subordinates heard the analysis, they were shocked. How much hatred must she have for her victims? Back then, only one person harmed her, and now she wants to chop off everyone's hands? Then Zhao Wu looked at the photos on the wall. What's this water gun for? And why is this grave collapsed? The subordinate suddenly spoke up, saying, Mr. Zhao, this is Xiao Jia Ying, international businesswoman who migrated to Australia. Why is there so much information about her here? Zhao Wu thought for a moment. In a previous list, a third person was Xiao Lu. Could she be the next victim? Zhao Wu glanced at the time on the plane ticket next to him. The flight had arrived at 3:00 p.m., and now it was already 4:15 p.m. Zhao Wu suddenly felt something was off and immediately rushed out. He confirmed, I'm going to find Lai Dan. You bring the evidence you gathered here and quickly take it back to the police station for further help. The next moment, the subordinate quickly found more information. Mr. Zhao, I've checked. Xiao Jia Ying was indeed the third person in that competition. Xiao Lu was accepted by the National Music Academy, then went abroad to study. She became a businesswoman by dealing in musical instruments. It turns out Xiao Lu changed her name, but isn't she supposed to be in Australia right now? Zhao Wu explained that grave belongs to Xiao Lu's father. Lai Dan must have deliberately made a hole in the grave and forged government documents for Xiao Lu, claiming the grave collapsed for no reason. He tricked her into coming back to the country and then chopped off her hand. There's not much time left. Xiao Lu has been off the plane for over an hour now. I need to get there immediately. At this moment, the scene shifted to the cemetery. Xiao Jieying had arrived, and not far from her, a person dressed in black, holding an axe, was slowly approaching. At that moment, Zhao Wu was speeding down the road. His subordinate was also reporting, I can't track Lai Dan's phone. I couldn't find her location. Zhao Wu immediately instructed his subordinate, check Xiao Lu's location right now, but time is already running out. Zhao Wu's mind was racing. He thought to himself, Lai Dan, where will you choose to cut off the hand? If Xiao Lu has no other plans, where will she go after leaving the airport? To the cemetery? There are no cameras there, so it's a perfect spot for cutting off a hand. Once he had a clear idea of the location, he sped off in that direction. Meanwhile, at the cemetery, Xiao Lu had been drugged, and the attacker had raised an axe, ready to strike. However, just as the blow was about to land, Zhao Wu arrived just in time. The attacker, seeing him, fled. Zhao Wu chased after him, realizing that the attacker was much faster than expected. But at the end, the attacker reached a dead end with no way to escape. Seeing this, Zhao Wu immediately pulled out his handcuffs and boldly moved forward. Suddenly, the attacker turned around and fired a dart from a dart gun filled with tranquilizer. Zhao Wu was caught off guard, his mind racing. So that water gun was actually a tranquilizer gun. Just like that, Zhao Wu was knocked out by the tranquilizer. A little while later, the team arrived at the scene and Zhao Wu slowly regained consciousness. When he opened his eyes, the first person he saw was forensic expert Wang Fei. Zhao Wu suddenly remembered what had just happened and jumped up. However, since the effects of the drug hadn't worn off yet, he ended up collapsing right into Wang Fei's arms. After a while, Zhao Wu finally regained full awareness and quickly pulled Wang Fei up. Wang Fei looked a little uncomfortable and said, I heard there's a thug detective on Team A. I didn't expect it to be you. Zhao Wu, looking calm and emotionless, replied, I'm really sorry for what happened earlier. Then Zhao Wu suddenly remembered Xiao Lu. Is her hand okay? At that moment, the acting leader of Team A, Liu Changhu, scolded, Why didn't you share these clues with us earlier? If the suspect escapes, it'll be hard to catch them. You don't still remember the bet you made with me, do you? One of the team members was clearly dissatisfied and said, Zhao Wu just found the lead, and we didn't even know if it was the right direction. If we were wrong, it could cause misunderstandings. Wang Fei stepped in and said, if Zhao Wu hadn't been the first to get to the scene, Xiao Lu's hand would be gone by now. And he was also under the effects of the anesthetic, which made it very dangerous for him. Suddenly, Zhao Wu burst out laughing and stepped forward, saying, we were clear about this from the start. As long as I catch the culprit in the hand-chopping case, you'll pay for the previous compensation. Everyone looked at Zhao Wu, thinking that the anesthesia must have messed with his brain. Despite their confusion, Zhao Wu moved forward, and then, with one swift kick, he smashed the board above him. It shattered, and Zhao Wu fell down with it. Looking down below, everyone saw Zhao Wu holding onto the criminal, grinning widely. Hey, someone take a picture for me, he called out. After Zhao Wu's efforts, the hand-chopping case was finally wrapped up. However, his subordinates were curious. How did Zhao Wu know Lai Dan was hiding in the tomb? Zhao Wu, feeling a bit embarrassed, responded, I can't exactly tell you that before I passed out, I secretly planted a tracking device on Lai Dan's. Well, let's just say I can't give you that detail. I can only joke around and say that since Lai Dan once hid on the roof for so long during the last hand-chopping case, he probably hid somewhere close this time too. One of his sharp subordinates asked, but how did you know exactly which tomb? You went straight to the right spot when you got there. Just when Zhao Wu didn't know how to respond, the subordinate added, I have a feeling you weren't really unconscious at all. You must have seen her hide in there, right? Zhao Wu, almost relieved, followed along with the subordinate's guess. You're really sharp. You guessed it right again. The system this time also showed that the case had been completed with a 95% completion rate, and Zhao Wu received 5 invisible lie detector machines as a reward. Zhao Wu thought to herself that the completion rate was really high. This time, the case was solved thanks to the new tracking device. In the future, the invisible lie detector machines would definitely be extremely useful. The next morning, Zhao Wu received a notification from the system, along with a message that she was being transferred to the interrogation room. It turned out the notification was about the criminal wanting to meet with her. When the criminal met Zhao Wu, they couldn't stop asking, who did it? Who put the wire on the piano all those years ago? Zhao Wu, hearing this, was also a bit curious. She didn't know who did it, but they had already severed the hands of 3 people. The criminal was extremely angry. They took away my practice time. Everyone who made it to the finals has a responsibility. It must have been one of the three of them who admitted to harming me, or you wouldn't have been able to track me down. Zhao Wu felt helpless in trying to explain. She thought to herself, if the victim doesn't admit it, how else could we have figured it out? She's way too confident. The three of them never mentioned anything about harming her. I was just investigating the competition they participated in and then found her house. The culprit, after hearing this, was completely confused. That's impossible. Even if you found out about me, you wouldn't be able to know my address. When she was admitted to the hospital, her mother had registered the information, but the culprit was still suspicious. Even so, I didn't mark where I was hiding in the records. Zhao Wu then remembered how she had placed the tracking device on the woman's rear and frantically tried to explain her sedative had expired. And I couldn't exactly tell you that I secretly placed a tracking device on your butt, right? The culprit, though still unconvinced, felt powerless. After all, Zhao Wu was the one who had hacked her way through everything. The culprit then felt a slight regret. My father pinned all his hopes on me, but I couldn't do anything. He passed away. My mother has cancer now. I've lost everything. She paused for a moment. As Zhao Wu turned to leave, she asked, "Let me ask you something, Lai Dan. Before you sought revenge, did you think about your mother? If you're gone, how will she live? Who will take care of her? Here's something I'll leave with you. The human heart can't stay unbalanced, and hatred can't go beyond its limits." As Zhao Wu walked out of the interrogation room, she felt uneasy. She wasn't comfortable because she hadn't found the bastard who had hurt Lai Dan all those years ago. She also wasn't comfortable because she couldn't help Lai Dan get to the bottom of everything. After that, Zhao Wu arrived at the office and found a group of people there who wanted to beat him up. However, it didn't expect Zhao Wu to toss them all out right away. One of his colleagues explained, "These people represent the shopkeepers from the alley whose goods you accidentally damaged while riding the camel. They've come to ask for compensation." Zhao Wu looked at them and thought to himself, what kind of businesses are these? They're clearly just a bunch of thugs trying to extort money. I've dealt with people like them plenty of times. With that, Zhao Wu grabbed the ear of the guy with the yellow hair. "Let me teach you something. Take a good look around. Is anyone missing a hand or a leg? What are you gonna get out of this? If you want to cause trouble, at least create a public scene first. You didn't even bring a reporter with you, and here you are making a big fuss. I could just raise my hand and send all of you straight to jail, you know." Suddenly, Xiaolu Liu, accompanied by a group of bodyguards, stepped forward and said, "Officer Zhao, here's 100,000 yuan. You have to accept it. I'm so grateful for your help. Let me treat you to dinner tonight." Zhao Wu looked them over and then replied, "As for dinner, no need, but we do have strict rules. So, Miss Xiao, I'll need you to write a voluntary donation receipt for this money. Otherwise, I could get in trouble later." Xiao Lulu was very pleased and agreed. "Here's my business card. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me." And with that, Xiao Lulu left. Zhao Wu directly took out a stack of money and slapped the blonde guy in the face. "Distribute this money to the other businesses. Whatever you do, don't let me find out that you're keeping any for yourselves." The thugs were now completely stunned. "Brother Zhao, we wouldn't dare. We'll definitely keep an eye on them and make sure the money goes to the right people. We'll leave now and not bother you while you're working." Then Zhao Wu turned to the others and said, "Let's have a big party tonight. I'll cover the bill at the hotel." As his colleagues were wrapping things up, Zhao Wu looked over the ranking list from that year's competition, lost in thought. A little while later at the coffee shop, Zhao Wu spoke to Xiaolu Liu. "Here's the final score from that competition. Your scores were very close to each other. This means only the four of you could have gained from Lai Dan stepping down. If the three people who had their hands chopped off knew the full story from that year, Lai Dan would have been arrested long ago. She never would have made a move against you." Xiaolu Liu was confused. "You're not suggesting I'm the one who caused Lai Dan to end up like this, are you? Lai Dan wanted to cut off my hands. I'm the one who was hurt here." Zhao Wu frowned and called out Xiaolu Liu. "How exactly did you harm Lai Dan? When I just mentioned her, you didn't seem surprised at all. That's because you already knew who was out to get you. You also knew what happened to Lai Dan before." Xiaolu Liu put on a face of innocence. "Even if I participated in that piano competition twice, what could that possibly prove? I've gone through the records of you and your friends. Your father even faked your academic records and household registration for your competition. This was the 9th time you had entered, but you didn't make it to the finals. The 10th competition that year was your last chance. Among the four of you, only you had a reason to go all in and risk it all. So where's the evidence? You're a cop. You can't just make baseless accusations without proof." But Zhao Wu continued, "You probably know more about this than I do. If it weren't for that razor blade, Lai Dan's life would have turned out like yours. Now, Lai Dan's father died from the shock and her mother has cancer. As for Lai Dan, she's facing charges for intentional injury. There's a good chance she might not even survive this. Hearing this, Xiao Lu felt deeply hurt again. That's enough. Do you have any idea how I've been living these past few years? For her, this is the lifelong scar, and for me, it's a shadow that can never be erased. Finally, Xiao Lu couldn't hold it in anymore and spoke up about what happened back then. This really does involve me. 18 years ago, the day before the competition, according to the rules of the organizers, I finished my piano practice at 3 p.m. and went straight back to the hotel. In the evening, Dad said, I left something behind at the ceremony, so I need to go back and get it. I had planned to go with him, but unexpectedly, he scolded me. You stay in your room and don't go anywhere. It's rare for Dad to speak to me so firmly. That night, I waited until 11 p.m. before he came back. When he did, he kept saying, do your best on the exam. You must do your best tomorrow. On the day of the awards ceremony, I was so nervous that I ran to the restroom. There, I saw Lai Dan's mom arguing with the event staff. Lai Dan's mom was saying, please, I beg you. My daughter can't have her life ruined over a razor blade. What will she do with her future? She's a piano prodigy. That was when I learned that Lai Dan had suddenly pulled out of the competition because she had cut her finger with a razor blade while practicing piano. The accident happened the night Dad came home late. On the stage, I really couldn't bring myself to smile. I hoped Lai Dan's situation had nothing to do with my dad. But when I was packing up to go home, I found a razor blade in my dad's bag. Right then, I had an argument with him. Eventually, he admitted it. He kept begging me. My parents divorced when I was young, and my dad raised me on his own. He gave everything for me. Sometimes he worked 3 jobs in a single day and didn't rest until night. I didn't want him to go to prison. Maybe it was karma. Later, Dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away. He could never forgive himself for what happened to Lai Dan. After the competition, I never touched the piano again. Every time I saw one, all I could think about was Lai Dan and her bloody hands. Don't worry, Officer Zhao, I'll hire the best legal team to help Lai Dan. I'll also make sure someone takes care of her mother. I know that between me and Lai Dan, money isn't the issue. I don't expect her to forgive me. I just hope things don't get any worse. Seeing this, Zhao Wu didn't ask any more questions. A little while later, Zhao Wu was happily singing and drinking with colleagues at KTV. Afterward, Wang Fi drove him home. On the way, Wang Fi kept asking about Zhao Wu's condition. Zhao Wu, how are you feeling? Zhao Wu honestly replied, I haven't laid a hand on her yet, so I guess I'm not drunk. Oh, so blunt. But actually, it's not really on the way for us. Hearing this, Zhao Wu thought to himself, if it's not on the way, then why are you driving me home? Does he have feelings for me? But Wang Fi immediately saw through his thoughts. Don't get the wrong idea. Let me tell you, today at Gaishan Reservoir, they just fished out a body. Because of your party, I had to do half of the autopsy and leave early, and now I need to go back and finish it. Zhao Wu felt embarrassed after hearing that. The fact that Wang Fi could perform a half-done autopsy and still eat as if nothing happened was truly professional. Wang Fi continued, my hands have touched countless corpses already. Do you still want to lay a hand on me? Zhao Wu chuckled and asked, what are you talking about? It's not like I died from you touching me. But if you really did kill me with a touch, I'd die happy, honestly. When Wang Fi heard that, she felt a slight flutter in her heart and couldn't help but smile in amusement. A little while later, the car reached its destination. Zhao Wu got out of the car and confirmed there's no one home. Wang Fi glanced at Zhao Wu, smiled lightly, then stepped on the gas and sped off without looking back. Zhao Wu watched the car drive away, feeling a bit helpless, especially after hearing Wang Fi's teasing response earlier. Next time, I'll bring a surgical knife and we'll see how things go. Sighing, Zhao Wu made his way home, only to be surprised to find Jiang Xiaoqin still waiting for him at his doorstep. Jiang Xiaoqin said, Dad, Zhao Wu, it's really hard to get a date with you, huh? You really know how to play hard to get. Zhao Wu quickly tried to explain, what are you talking about? I'm really solving a case right now. Jiang Xiaoqin ignored his explanation. Tears started to well up in her eyes, and she spoke with a quiver in her voice. Did you forget you ruined my parent-teacher meeting? All I wanted was to earn a little money to ease the pressure at home. Why is it so hard? If people find out about this, how am I ever going to continue with school? Zhao Wu looked at Jiang Xiaoqin's pitiful expression and asked, what happened? Can't I help you with it? As soon as Jiang Xiaoqin heard this, her face changed instantly. The next day, Jiang Xiaoqin took Zhao Wu to visit their teacher. The high school entrance exam is coming up, and parents need to do their part to support their children. Xiaoqin is a promising student, and our school is putting a lot of effort into her development. Zhao Wu was at a loss for words. This little brat should just become an actress. She changes her mind faster than flipping a pancake. At that moment, Zhao Wu exchanged looks with Jiang Xiaoqin. Was her father going to suddenly show up here? Jiang Xiaoqin responded with a look of her own. Don't worry, I've already installed a tracker on his phone. He's still at the hospital right now. Zhao Wu, meanwhile, was still thinking about Wang Fei. I wonder if she's finished with the autopsy yet. I wonder if she's at the office now. A little while later, Zhao Wu arrived at the A-team office. Is there a new case? Let me handle Wang Fei's case. Don't worry about it. Are you free tonight? Let's talk about the case. Before Wang Fei could respond, a colleague next to him handed him a file. You won't have time tonight. Don't worry about the case. Hu Ping's team is handling it. The team has also given you a new phone. Get rid of the old one. This afternoon, pack up your things and report here. Zhao Wu arrived at the training site, his face showing a confused expression. He looked bored as he glanced at the system. Recently, the system had been giving him strange items, things like binoculars, a device to analyze the composition of objects, a signal jammer, an air quality tester, and sometimes even sneezing would make the system pop up. While Zhao Wu was lost in thought, a woman suddenly walked by. Everyone around him was calling her Ying Ji. As he watched her drink water, Zhao Wu felt a strange surge of emotion. Without thinking, he asked, Hey, buddy, who's that girl? A colleague quickly replied, She's probably a beautiful female agent. As for the lucky guy who might be with her, that could very well be me. Before the colleague could finish his sentence, Zhao Wu rushed over to Ying Ji, greeting her with a smile. Hey there, beautiful newcomer. I'm guessing you haven't seen the handcuffing move that the coach just demonstrated, right? Wanting to show you how it's done. The people around them were watching with amusement. What's Zhao Wu doing? He's just flirting with her. Has he lost it? He's asking for trouble. Do you know who she is? She's a monster. She's the champion of 2 national martial arts tournaments, a bare-handed wrestling expert. She's the nightmare of all the male officers. No criminal she's ever captured has walked away unscathed. Most of them end up crippled. Ying Ji, without hesitating, agreed to Zhao Wu's challenge. They both climbed into the ring. Zhao Wu, full of confidence, said, I'll teach you how to lock the opponent's arms first. Now, go ahead and throw a punch at me. Ying Ji didn't say anything and casually threw a punch. Zhao Wu quickly caught her hand and pressed it back forcefully. Ying Ji's arm was locked in a reverse hold. Zhao Wu remained confident as he guided her, saying it was simple. The key was to twist the wrist firmly. Hearing this, Ying Ji felt a surge of excitement. But I have a way to break this move, she said. Before Zhao Wu could react, Ying Ji gripped her left hand tightly and swung it toward his face. Zhao Wu took the hit, still stunned, and before he could recover, Ying Ji spun around and kicked him. Zhao Wu reacted quickly, raising both hands to block the attack. He was knocked back toward the fence, but managed to regain his footing. After catching his breath, he thought, damn, I was just wondering why this girl is always alone. Turns out, she's just too good at fighting. Her friends probably stay away to avoid getting caught up in this. Ying Ji then grinned. Ha ha, sorry about that. I got a little carried away, so don't be mad. How about you teach me that move you did to lock my throat instead? Zhao Wu laughed. Actually, I have a counter to the arm lock you used earlier. Seeing that Zhao Wu wasn't giving up, Ying Ji said, Well then, come at me and let's see if I can break your arm. Suddenly, Zhao Wu reached out with one hand. Ying Ji was caught off guard as he used the momentum to lock both of her arms behind her. In this position, Ying Ji couldn't struggle. Embarrassed, she shouted, Let go of my hands. Zhao Wu didn't back down. Instead, he teased her. Well, you just kicked me earlier and now I can't move. Call me Brother Zhao, and I'll teach you a few more moves. But Ying Ji wasn't having it. She immediately slammed her head into Zhao Wu's nose, forcing him to step back a few paces. Taking advantage of the situation, Ying Ji swung her leg to kick him, but Zhao Wu caught her leg with one hand and mocked her. Nice kick, but your strength still needs work. Ying Ji got even angrier. She locked him in a reverse hold and slammed him to the ground. In response, Zhao Wu bit her on the backside. Ying Ji yelped in pain, then punched him in the face. Just then, a supervisor walked over and said, Are you two out of your minds? Get up now. I've never seen anything as strange as you two. Ying Ji snapped back angrily. Don't ever let me see you again. If I do, I'll hit you every time. Zhao Wu wasn't intimidated. He shot back. Do you think I'm scared of someone like you? And just like that, the fight ended under the supervisor's watch. The scene shifted to a hospital, where the deputy director spoke up. Stop kidding around. He's just a rookie. He's always acting tough like some kind of street thug. Are you seriously considering him as your successor? The team leader showed a hint of concern. His reckless behavior and cruelty are worse than that of a criminal. His future can't be taken lightly. I've already arranged things for him. First, we need to temper his personality and deal with that fiery temper of his. After the training, Zhao Wu was immediately assigned a case. Upon arriving at the crime scene, he curiously asked, Is this the victim's house? One of his subordinates, puzzled, asked, "Captain Zhao, you just finished training and were called into a cold case team right away. Don't you have any objections?" But Zhao Wu disagreed. Every team is about solving cases. The subordinate, feeling a little anxious, said, "Do you know how tough these old cases are? They're a real headache." Zhao Wu confidently smiled and replied, "The reason this case hasn't been solved in 10 years is because I wasn't around. Once we crack it, I'll treat you to a nice meal." As Zhao Wu opened the door and looked around, the details of the case flashed in his mind. 10 years ago at 8 p.m., a sudden thunderstorm swept through. The victim, Wu Shijian, was found slumped on his sofa at home. At the time of the murder, there had been a veiled figure spotted at an intersection in the neighborhood. But since there were no security cameras in the area, there's very little information on the suspect now. The victim had been slashed 40 times from the front before dying. The crime scene left no fingerprints or footprints, and the door lock showed no signs of being forced open. Either the victim opened the door himself, or the killer had a key to his place. The killer used the victim's blood to write "Pay the debt" on the wall. If it was a revenge killing, there wouldn't have been any mention of debt. And if the killer was just trying to collect a debt, there wouldn't have been so many brutal slashes, minus 40 in total, making the scene so bloody and then writing something as unnecessary as that. What was the killer's goal? Just as Zhao Wu was deep in thought, his phone rang. It was Tao Jia calling. "Are you busy? I want to invite you to dinner." So Zhao Wu, not wanting to refuse, went to the restaurant. When he arrived, Tao Jia spoke up. "I've been wanting to invite you for a while now. Last time, it was because of you that my bag wasn't stolen. Plus, that bag was a gift from my boyfriend." Hearing this, Zhao Wu felt uncomfortable. She has a boyfriend now. Tao Jia hesitated. Zhao Wu, sensing her hesitation, directly asked, "Just say what you want to say. If it's something I can help with, I definitely will." As soon as Tao Jia heard this, she immediately replied, "Could you investigate my boyfriend? Lately, he keeps asking me for money. I'm worried he's getting involved in something bad." After that, Zhao Wu immediately called someone and recounted the entire story to the person on the other end of the line. Chang Jingfeng, on the other end, asked, "Her boyfriend's name is Zhang Ji, right? If I find anything, I'll let you know right away." Zhao Wu pretended to be friendly. "All right, then next time, I'll invite you to play billiards." But the person on the other end, clearly scared, replied, "Forget it. How about you just invite me to dinner? I don't want to end up like a billiard ball being knocked around the floor." After hanging up the phone, Zhao Wu looked at the woman in front of him. Her name was Lin Maifeng, and she had once been married to the victim, Wu Zhijian. She was also the prime suspect in the case. She had endured domestic violence from her deceased husband for a long time, had a miscarriage due to his beatings, and he even threatened her entire family, breaking her father's leg. At the time, Lin Maifeng was in the hospital taking care of her cousin who had just given birth, and she had perfect alibi. The day after the body was discovered, she was so terrified that she collapsed. It was the neighbors who helped her call the police. Afterward, she tried to commit suicide several times and was hospitalized for depression. It took her a long time to escape the grip of despair. At the time that followed, she lived a happy life with her daughter. If she were really the killer, then, just as Zhao Wu was thinking, the investigation results came in. "Zhao, we found the person you're looking for. Zhang Ji is making counterfeit goods in his workshop and is headed to the wholesale market today. I'll send you the warehouse location and coordinates." Zhao Wu then headed straight to the marketplace. Suddenly, he saw a girl chasing after a man from behind. Zhao Wu immediately recognized it as a robbery, and the girl was Ying Ji. Without hesitation, Zhao Wu kicked out, tripping the thief. As soon as Zhao Wu picked up the wallet and checked it, Ying Ji shoved him aside and jumped up to kick the criminal. Zhao Wu muttered under his breath, "Damn, is she using this as an excuse to hit me?" Then Zhao Wu pushed Ying Ji away, throwing a punch at the criminal. "Move out of the way, try running again, and see what happens." At this point, Ying Ji was really angry. How dare he hit back? She immediately went after him again. Zhao Wu and Ying Ji started fighting fiercely, each landing blows on the other until more officers arrived and pulled them apart. Zhao Wu, clearly annoyed, said, "I'm helping you catch this guy, and you're repaying me like this?" Ying Ji shot back, "How do I know if you're in cahoots with him?" Zhao Wu snapped, "You better not let me catch you again. If I do, every time I see you, I'll give you a punch. You think I'm afraid of you?" In the end, with others stepping in to separate them, they both walked away. Zhao Wu glanced at his phone, cursing quietly, "Damn, it's only getting worse. Now I can't even do my job properly. This one is really a piece of work, but at least I got something out of it." He then pulled out the wallet he had picked up and stared at it, wondering, what exactly did this person do to get arrested? Then why does his wallet have a picture of Lin Maifeng? Could it be that he secretly has feelings for her? A little while later, Zhao Wu returned to the precinct. It was lunchtime, and Zhang Jingfeng provided some information. The man's name was Liu Bangfei, 41 years old, and he worked as a clothing wholesaler. His wallet contained over 1 million yuan in total, and under his name, he also owned 3 houses and 2 cars. So what's his connection to Lin Maifeng? Zhao Wu asked. Zhang Jingfeng quickly replied, there's no connection to Lin Maifeng. However, he's from the same hometown as the victim, Wu Zhizhen. But this is an old case that hasn't been solved for 10 years. You just happened to pick up a wallet, and now you found a lead. It's honestly like fate's on your side. Zhao Wu checked the system. The current encounter was complete. Completion rate, 80%. He received a hidden listening device. This clue probably came from the system's good luck, but the picture in the wallet looked like it was taken secretly. He needed to ask Liu Bangfei about it. He must know Lin Maifeng and might have kept her photo in his wallet. Could it be that he had secretly fallen for her? A colleague spoke up. This guy is actually a regular here at the precinct. Last time, it was for fighting and causing a disturbance. This time, he's being investigated for intentionally causing serious injury. We definitely need to interrogate Liu Bangfei. But right now, he's locked up at the R precinct. The people under him were also puzzled and asked, does anyone here know someone from the R division? Zhao Wu felt helpless on his side as well. He had no choice but to go meet her. So Zhao Wu, with a submissive expression, went to the R division. When Yingji saw him, she was a bit annoyed. You really have guts to show up. Are you here to cause trouble today? Zhao Wu got closer to Yingji, trying to appear friendly. Captain Miao said that, and now I must look like a thug. But this time, it's official business. Please cut me some slack, all right? Yingji took a quick look and then confirmed, this is hardly enough to question Liu Bangfei. You need the official cooperation papers first, but by the time those come through, it'll take a month. Everything's always so slow. Next time, I'll make it up to you. I bid you last time, so you're not still mad, are you? Hearing this, Yingji's anger flared up again. Anyone else can be interrogated today, but you, Zhao Wu, are not allowed. Get out of here. Go back to where you came from. Zhao Wu, seeing Yingji so furious, grinned mischievously. At that moment, Captain Miao blocked the door and the others started to gossip. Where did this kid come from? How dare he show up at the R division and stir up trouble? Even Captain Miao is messing with him. He's going to get a beating for this. Zhao Wu then said, you really won't let me interrogate? Do you believe I could cut you off from the world in an instant? I have a superpower. I can block the signals of the whole building. Your computers and phones won't be able to connect at all. As soon as he said this, everyone burst into laughter. Superpower? Blocking signals? Are you out of your mind? Captain Miao chuckled, then said, if you really manage to block the signals in this building, I'll let you in for real. Then you better keep your word. I'm about to cast my spell now. Captain Miao quickly ordered, turn on the signal detector now. Zhao Wu then loudly shouted, Captain Miao is an idiot. Captain Miao is an idiot. Hearing this, Captain Miao's anger began to rise. Just as he was about to snap, a colleague shouted, the signal really is gone. Captain, the 3rd floor has lost signal too. Captain, even downstairs is out. Captain, the detector is showing no signal at all. A series of reports left Captain Miao confused. Zhao Wu then asked, so, can I go in now, Captain Miao? A little while later, Zhao Wu confidently walked into the interrogation room. Before he could strike a pose, Captain Miao pushed him in. Don't waste time at the door. Captain Miao was thinking to himself, what the hell is going on with this guy? How did he actually manage to block the signal? Meanwhile, Zhao Wu was quietly pleased with himself. Thankfully, the signal jammer worked to scare them. Now he was about to test the lie detector. With that in mind, Zhao Wu spoke up again. In a moment, I'll ask you some questions, and you just need to answer yes or no. After that, Zhao Wu began a series of test questions. You're a man, right? Yes. Is your name Liu Bangfei? Yes. It seemed that this lie detector was really accurate. The green light meant the truth. The red light meant a lie. Then Zhao Wu continued asking, you're a woman, right? No. Do you like eating rice cakes? No. Your parents are divorced, right? No. Did you kill Wu Zhizhen? This sudden important question caught the suspect off guard. The suspect immediately shouted, no. At that moment, the red light came on. Based on the lie detector, Zhao Wu realized the suspect was lying and shouted angrily, do you know of his wife, Lin Maifeng? Captain Miao immediately advised, Zhao Wu, calm down. Let go of him first. Meanwhile, the suspect became more and more panicked, hurriedly saying, no, no, no. Captain Miao also found it strange. He really killed someone. Why was the suspect getting so frantic over just a few questions? What was going on with Zhao Wu? A moment later, Zhao Wu kept thinking, the real culprit is this person. Right now, there's no evidence, so I need to find a way to make him confess. Then Zhao Wu looked at Captain Miao and said, I need to discuss something with you. He had originally expected Captain Miao to refuse right away, but unexpectedly, her attitude suddenly became friendly. After that, Captain Miao showed the suspect a photo and said, these are the letters the killer left at the crime scene during the massacre at the residential area years ago. The match between your handwriting and the letters in the records is 91%. The figure captured by the camera at the intersection in the neighborhood matches your height and build. It seems you were well prepared. There are no fingerprints or footprints at the scene, but this is the only hair that doesn't belong to the victim, and it matches your DNA. The suspect, though clearly tense, refused to admit guilt even if it meant death. No way you're lying. I want a lawyer. Captain Miao exchanged glances with his team. It's no use. He's not falling for it. Maybe we should just let it go. Zhao Wu slowly stepped forward and asked the suspect to take a closer look. Besides the physical evidence, we also have a witness. The suspect stared at the photo in Zhao Wu's hand, then froze. Has she already told you everything? As soon as those words were spoken, Zhao Wu and Ying Ji immediately saw their opening. Zhao Wu responded without hesitation. Do I really need to answer that? Captain Miao, watching Zhao Wu, thought about the files she had reviewed earlier. Zhao Wu had cracked 2 major cases, earned city-level awards, and was transferred to this toughest unsolved case. Is it because of that stubborn nature of hers? 15 minutes ago, Zhao Wu was absolutely certain that he was the killer. Next, we had to put on a little show, using fake evidence to pressure him a bit, but we needed him to confess on his own. It seems Zhao Wu was really stubborn about this. When Captain Miao regained his composure, he heard the suspect honestly admit, I did kill Wu Shijian. Zhao Wu and Ying Ji both felt a wave of relief. At that moment, the suspect began to tell the whole story. I had an agreement with Lin Mai Feng to exchange murders. Upon hearing this, Zhao Wu's eyes widened in surprise. Lin Mai Feng killed someone too. The suspect continued, Wu Shijian and I went to the same high school. Back then, I liked a girl named Xiao Cheng. He, unable to win her over, started spreading rumors that Xiao Cheng slept with him. He spread the story all over that backwater town. It's said that Wu Shijian had actually done something with Xiao Cheng, and in the end, she was forced to drop out of school and move to another city to work. I later heard that she was forced into prostitution. In my heart, Wu Shijian deserved to die long ago. Captain Miao, puzzled, asked, So, you had Lin Mai Feng go to your house and kill your wife, Jian Wen Lai, because of that? Zhao Wu, once again shocked, muttered, This bastard even killed his own wife. No wonder Ying Ji treated me so well and agreed to help me. Looks like she just wanted me to go check for bombs first for her. This woman really is as scheming as they come. Captain Biao pressed on. So why did you want to kill Jian Wen Lai? The woman, I've wanted to kill her for a long time. She never respected me. My job and the house I live in were all provided by her father. As for me, I was just a servant, always working nonstop for her family. Later, I watched a movie about a murder exchange, so I went to Lin Mai Feng first. She'd been enduring abuse from Wu Shijian for years, so she definitely hated him. Partnering with her wouldn't just help me get revenge for Xiao Cheng, but also get rid of my wife. But she didn't agree at first, so we put it on hold for a while. Then that bastard Wu Shijian beat her to the point of causing a miscarriage. After that, Lin Mai Feng changed her mind. We signed a contract and even recorded it. The day she killed my wife, I would be at the workshop working. The day I killed her husband, she would go take care of her cousin who was giving birth. That way, we both had an alibi. Honestly, after living like this for 10 years, it feels so much better to finally say it all out loud. With the suspect's confession, the case was solved. Zhao Wu invited his colleagues out to celebrate again. It was so satisfying. This was the big case that had been giving the department a headache for 10 years. Are you a reincarnation of Sherlock Holmes or something? I always thought murder for hire cases like this only happened on TV. Zhao Wu took a sip of his beer and thought back to a few hours ago. At this moment, he was pushing Ying Ji against the wall, his lips constantly whispering, "Let's cooperate well," while Ying Ji shyly stammered, "I'll report both cases at the same time to the higher-ups and confirm that it was our 2 precincts working together to investigate and solve them. If there's any progress, I'll update you immediately. First, I'll go request an arrest warrant for Lin Mai Feng." Suddenly, Captain Miao noticed Zhao Wu's silent expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Zhao Wu smiled and answered, "I thought she wasn't the one who did it." Captain Miao added that it wasn't certain yet and they'd figure it out after bringing her back to the station. Back in the present, Zhao Wu was drinking beer while deep in thought. This woman wasn't just beautiful and smart, her hands were soft and her skin was smooth. At the same time, his phone rang. He glanced at it and saw it was a call from Captain Biao. As soon as he answered, Ying Ji shouted, "Get here quickly, Zhao Wu." After more than 20 minutes in the car, Zhao Wu finally arrived at Precinct R. He was out of breath and demanded, "Come on, tell me what's going on." Captain Biao honestly recounted, "We just interrogated Lin Mai Feng. She said she killed Jian Wenlai with a knife, stabbing him twice in the neck. But the autopsy report for Jian Wenlai says he died from asphyxiation. Right now, Zhao Wu was trying to concentrate but kept covering his mouth. He had told the driver to hurry earlier, and now he felt like he might throw up." Captain Miao continued, "There are knife wounds on the victim, but they're very shallow. I feel like Lin Mai Feng has already confessed, and there's no need for her to lie. So the person who killed Jian Wenli might not be Lin Mai Feng. Look, there are a lot of messy footprints at the scene, but Lin Mai Feng said she was wearing shoe covers. Plus, she made it look like a robbery, taking valuables from the west bedroom. But when they examined the scene, they found that valuables were also stolen from the east bedroom. So on the day Jian Wenlai was killed, there must have been a third person at the scene. It's possible that this person was the one who strangled Jian Wenlai first. Then Lin Mai Feng came in and stabbed him, or maybe she even thought she had already killed Jian Wenlai. At this point, Zhao Wu couldn't hold it in anymore. He spit a rainbow-colored stream right on the Captain Miao. With a few bruises and wearing new clothes, Zhao Wu and Captain Miao went back to the interrogation room. These questions are very important to you. Just answer yes or no. Did you kill Jian Wenlai? Yes. Zhao Wu looked at the lie detector, clearly showing that she was lying. But why didn't she look like she was lying? Did she really think she killed Jian Wenlai, or was she intentionally covering up for the real killer? Zhao Wu continued to ask, "Do you know who the real killer of Jian Wenlai is?" Lin Mai Feng looked confused. "Isn't it me?" Zhao Wu gave a look that suggested she just needed a simple yes or no answer, but Lin Mai Feng's response triggered another red flag. Zhao Wu was now certain that Lin Mai Feng wasn't lying. She truly didn't know who the real killer was. "When you stabbed Jian Wenli, was she already dead?" Zhao Wu asked. Lin Mai Feng hesitated before answering, "I don't know. I was so scared at the time, I just stabbed the blanket a few times. She didn't move." Zhao Wu's thoughts were once again confirmed. Lin Mai Feng genuinely believed she had killed Jian Wenlai. "That's great," Zhao Wu said. "She's not the real killer after all." A moment later, Captain Miao also confirmed the situation. Lin Mai Feng had confessed. Technically, the case could be closed now. Zhao Wu added, "I saw it earlier. When she stabbed, she really had no idea if Jian Wenlai was alive or dead." Captain Miao became serious and said, "As your senior, I want to remind you of something. If we close the case now, we could get all kinds of rewards, bonuses, and recognition. But if we don't close it, we'll face unfinished work, wasted effort, and the killer getting away. 10 years ago, once an investigation begins, Jian Wenlei's family will definitely make sure the police don't get off easy. If the truth comes out, fine, but if we can't find the real killer, it will become a huge problem. You know how difficult cold cases are in our department." Here's the translation of the text. "I've said everything I need to say. Now, I want to hear your opinion. Is this case ever going to be solved?" Zhao Wu laughed after hearing this. "If you could give up, you wouldn't be here telling me all this. You definitely wouldn't be calling me out here in the middle of the night." Captain Miao also laughed. "I really regret calling you out here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to listen to this mess you just dumped on me." Zhao Wu disagreed. "Well, if you're such a big person, why not let it slide? Let's work together and catch the real killer." Later, Zhao Wu went back to his precinct and told everyone everything that had happened. Suddenly, Zhao Wu saw a group of police officers hurriedly getting into their cars. He wondered, where are all these people heading? One of his subordinates explained the killer in the Gaishan Mountain case turns out to be an amateur parkour athlete. Before they arrested him, the police only cuffed one of his hands, which gave him the chance to escape. But someone just reported seeing a man with one cuffed hand near the Gaishan Reservoir, and he looks a lot like Yang Wendao, the suspect we've been searching for. So now everyone's heading there to catch him. Zhao Wu thought for a moment. He hid the body in the reservoir, but he dares to stay around there. That's bold. Zhang Jingfeng added, "There are a lot of villages near the reservoir, so searching for one person in all that area is pretty chaotic and time-consuming." Zhao Wu, intrigued, said, "Then I'll go too." Hearing this, the colleagues behind him grew anxious and called out to Zhao Wu, "The chief wants to see you. You're still thinking about the case, you little rascal? Don't you want a promotion?" Zhao Wu wasn't concerned. Catching the criminal was more urgent. The leadership would understand. 3 days later, Zhao Wu and his team arrived at the Gaishan Reservoir. One of his subordinates called out, "Brother Zhao, the locals say Yang Wendao ran toward the west side of the lake. Why are we heading east?" Zhao Wu explained just because he headed west doesn't mean he actually went west. Maybe he moved from east to west and then turned back. People have been searching the north and south sides for the past few days, but there's been no sign of him. Suddenly, Zhao Wu noticed someone in the distance. It seemed to be one of Ying Ji's subordinates. After exchanging a brief greeting, Zhao Wu immediately stopped her and asked, "Who were you talking to just now?" The girl was a bit startled, sweat forming under her arms, but she managed to stay calm and answer, "He's an investigator who handled the Jian Wenlai case years ago. He retired a few years back and now lives here." Zhao Wu looked at her with suspicion. He had been so busy these past few days that he hadn't paid much attention to Ying Ji. She had promised to share updates about the case through WeChat, but he hadn't received a single message, not even a chicken feather. Thinking this over, he asked, "So, how's the case going?" As soon as he finished speaking, he grabbed the recording pen from the girl's hand. "Is this the recording of your conversation just now?" The girl then recalled the previous scene. The captain had said that these documents didn't need to be sent to Zhao Wu. They had agreed to investigate the Jian Wenli case together, but now Zhao Wu had gone to the Gaishan Reservoir to capture someone. Since he didn't care, there was no need for them to provide any evidence. Thinking this, the girl said, "As for the progress of the case, I'm sorry, but I can't report anything." Zhao Wu was confused and asked, "This case is being handled by both of our precincts. Why are you keeping things from me?" The girl didn't want to engage, so she replied, "If you have a problem, go talk to our captain." When Zhao Wu heard this, he got angry and shouted, "No one can refuse what I want." Just as the atmosphere turned tense, a subordinate suddenly stepped forward and called out, "Mr. Zhao." The moment Zhao Wu turned around, the girl quickly got in her car and drove off. Zhao Wu watched the car drive away, but he wasn't worried. After all, he had the recorder, so everything was under control. He then played the recording. The man was at least nearly 2 meters tall, with a limp on his right leg. Plus, there was mud on Jian Wenli's body. It was likely that the killer had pushed her against the wall and strangled her to death. Soon after, Ying Ji called and shouted at Zhao Wu, "Give us back the recorder." But Zhao Wu remained calm and replied, "What recorder? I don't know what you're talking about." Ying Ji, now furious, retorted, "Don't pretend. Let me tell you, Lin Maifeng's stationery shop was smashed and Liu Bangfi's warehouse was burned down. Jian Wenli's family is causing a scene, demanding the police catch the real killer. If you've got the guts, get back to solving the case." Realizing this was serious, Zhao Wu stopped joking and told Ying Ji, "Send me the documents first. Once I wrap things up here, I'll go back to investigate." Later, Zhao Wu returned the recorder. The arrogant blonde girl called out, "Officer Zhao, there are a lot of cliffs here. If you're not familiar with the terrain, be careful when driving. If you fall into the ravine, it'll be hard to recover the body." Zhao Wu ignored her, muttering to himself as he thought, "Not familiar with the terrain, huh?" Suddenly, an idea came to him, and he quickly asked his subordinate, "What does Yang Wen Dao do for a living?" The subordinate answered honestly, "He works in the technical department of the Science and Technology Bureau." "Why?" "Well, someone from the department could have been involved in field surveys for a project, so he might have been here before," Zhao Wu replied. The subordinate agreed, "That makes sense. No wonder he was hiding near the reservoir. He's probably familiar with the area." Zhao Wu asked, "Has he ever worked on a project near the Gaishan Reservoir?" Suddenly, the subordinate exclaimed, "Yes, he worked on the silver mine exploration project in the neighboring town. He was there for 3 years, so he's definitely been here countless times." "Wasn't Jin Yi supposed to be down there?" Zhao Wu asked. It seems Zhao Wu had guessed correctly. After that, the two of them prepared to head to Jin Yi. As night fell, Zhao Wu told his younger sister to sleep first. Meanwhile, he sat outside a convenience store thinking. He was working on a silver mine exploration project, but could he have hidden in one of the mine tunnels? There were so many tunnels around here. Suddenly, a little dog wobbled over. Zhao Wu, seeing the dog's pitiful eyes, gave it a chicken drumstick. Then he continued thinking, if he was hiding in a mine tunnel, what would he eat? Maybe he hides during the day and comes into town at night to look for food. But if you were a working dog, you'd be helpful right now. Do you recognize this guy? Help me find him. Zhao Wu felt like he was about to lose his mind. He couldn't believe it when the dog barked twice after looking at the picture, then turned and ran off. Is this for real? Does this dog really know how to track people? With that thought, Zhao Wu chased after the dog for a while. Eventually, they reached a quiet spot, and Zhao Wu saw a pile of poop. He thought to himself that he might have been wasting his time, but then he heard the sound of a phone ringing nearby. He turned on his flashlight to check and saw a figure. That's when it hit him. This was the same person from the Gaishan Reservoir case, the one they suspected was an amateur parkour athlete. The last time they tried to arrest him, they almost got him in handcuffs, but he managed to escape. Zhao Wu's mind raced and he shouted, "It's you! You can't escape this time, kid!" He kept the flashlight on and chased after him, but it was too dark. and the other guy was a parkour expert who knew the area well. It's so dark, I can't see anything. There's no way I'm catching up. Suddenly, Zhao Wu had an idea and a smile spread across his face. The system tools, if I don't use them now, when will I? Let's see where you're hiding. With the help of his night vision goggles and hidden binoculars, he quickly locked onto the criminal's position. But even with the tools, Zhao Wu found himself struggling to keep up. The other man was just too fast, and the terrain was too complicated. Despite all the tech, Zhao Wu couldn't find him anymore. As Zhao Wu was feeling stuck, the dog suddenly appeared and ran ahead. Zhao Wu saw it and smiled, saying, "I trust you." A little while later, Zhao Wu finally caught up to the criminal and kicked him, quickly gaining control. But just as Zhao Wu let his guard down, the criminal pulled out a dagger and slashed at Zhao Wu's face, barely missing his eye. The criminal then took advantage of the moment and ran off. Zhao Wu looked at the wound and anger flared up inside him. He immediately chased after the criminal again. However, the criminal ran into a nearby dog den to hide, slowing Zhao Wu's pace. At that moment, the suspect inside was also preparing to ambush Zhao Wu. When the suspect wondered why there was no sound, Zhao Wu suddenly kicked open the wooden plank and shouted, "You think I'm here to save you, but now you want to ambush me. You like using a knife, huh? Well, let me give you a taste of your own medicine." As Zhao Wu subdued the suspect, he suddenly felt out of breath. "What's going on? I just moved a little and I'm not usually this tired," he thought. He looked at the dog, confused, wondering why it hadn't come over. Then, the system displayed a warning that the carbon dioxide levels were too high, suggesting he needed to leave quickly. Zhao Wu realized, so that's it. There's not enough oxygen here. I need to get out fast. Just as Zhao Wu was cuffing the suspect, he suddenly looked to the side, puzzled. What's that? A little while later, Zhao Wu sat in a place with enough oxygen and muttered to his phone. There's really no signal at all. But then he pulled out a stealth GPS device and a signal amplifier. Zhao Wu immediately called his colleagues to come for backup. After hanging up, he was still curious about the bag he had just retrieved. What could be inside with it being this bulky? When the bag was opened, Zhao Wu was taken aback, shocked. This has to be at least 100,000. And this is old paper money. It must be worth double now. How is there so much money in this abandoned mine? A moment later, his colleagues arrived, buzzing with questions. The locals said he ran west. How did you catch him coming from the east? Wasn't he supposed to be investigating the south? This is amazing. How did you know he was in the mine? Zhao Wu gave instructions. Pick out my subordinate at room 211 in the outskirts hotel when you head back. I'm too tired, so I'm leaving now. Just as Zhao Wu was about to get into his car, the dog looked at him with a pitiful expression. Unable to resist, Zhao Wu sighed and said, all right, get in, you win. So the man and his dog slowly made their way home. When Zhao Wu arrived home and stood in front of his door, he suddenly noticed a beautiful woman injured and lying on the ground. Zhao Wu stared, a bit stunned. At this moment, the woman was also woken up by the smell from the dog. Zhao Wu immediately asked, why are you sleeping in the hallway in the middle of the night? The woman, still dazed, replied, I forgot to bring my keys. I was planning to wait by the door for Sister Hong to come home, but I accidentally fell asleep. Zhao Wu noticed the wound on her face, which seemed like she had been hit by someone, and said, come inside and rest for a bit. As soon as the woman entered the house, she immediately went to bathe the dog. She didn't even care that she was wet and called out loudly, Officer, what's this dog's name? Zhao Wu casually replied, Specialist in sniffing poop. The woman actually believed him. Specialist in sniffing poop. Well, in that case, let's take a bath together. Later, Zhao Wu dried the dog off and couldn't help but feel surprised. The dog was actually quite beautiful. Meanwhile, the woman was drying her hair and explaining, it's a Belgian sheepdog. These kinds of dogs are often used by the police as tracking dogs. Zhao Wu noticed how knowledgeable she was and casually asked, how old is the dog? The woman estimated, probably around 2 to 3 years old. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. The woman enthusiastically said, I'll go open it. The person at the door was Sister Hong. Why did you go to the neighbor's house? I heard your voice, so I came over to check. As soon as she said that, Sister Hong saw the woman soaked and eating a banana and Zhao Wu sitting on the floor. She immediately thought the worst and quickly turned around to leave. The woman kept explaining from behind, don't misunderstand, Sister Hong. I got wet because I was bathing the dog. We didn't do anything. Zhao Wu turned to the dog and said, I'm not interested either. The next day, at a hot pot restaurant, Lai Bini was complaining, hey Zhao, I still haven't finished the report on the murder case from before, and you already caught the killer in the Gaishan Reservoir case. My fingers are sore from typing, but I can't keep up with your speed in catching criminals. Plus, the new clerk in Team B is here, and the team leader told me to go help with the direction of things. Zhao Wu asked, has the theft case at the nursing home been solved by their team? Lai Beinei answered it was done by one of their own. The security guard targeted the 1 million yuan donation in the director's office. He adjusted the angle of the surveillance cameras at the nursing home and hid the stolen money in the basement. Zhao Wu was curious. How did they solve the case? Lai Beinei continued, since there were no images of the suspect, the team leader of the criminal division suspected it was someone from the inside. So they interrogated every security guard. One guard had a new bunch of keys, which he had just made. These keys could open the director's office, the surveillance room, and the basement. Investigating this led to cracking the case. As Zhao Wu was still lost in thought, the noise around him suddenly grew louder. A voice shouted, "Hey, I already told your boss. This place is not for sale. It's our main business. Don't come here causing trouble anymore." A thug immediately shot back, "We're customers too. What do you mean by causing trouble?" Another voice added, "Have you had enough to eat? If you're done, then get lost." The man calmly continued eating and replied, "What if I haven't had enough yet?" The thug then grabbed a bottle of liquor, slammed it down on the table, and yelled, "I told you to leave. Didn't you hear me? Damn busybody." Meanwhile, at the R precinct, everyone was busy preparing for the arrival of Director Su Yang. The chief spoke up, saying, "First of all, this visit is to carry out an important task assigned by the provincial committee. In the coming months, we'll need to fully cooperate with him." Someone asked, "But where's Zhao Wu?" Su Yang specifically requested to meet him. Another person replied, "I think he went out with Lai Beinei." The people around them were whispering to each other. Why would such a high-ranking official come to our small precinct? What's he here for? What does he look like? Is he tough? Not sure if he's tough or not. I heard he's really tall, with a face as red as a drunkard. Back at the hot pot restaurant, a pile of food flew past the man with the red face. It turned out that Zhao Wu had tossed the hot pot ingredients at the thugs. With a dark expression, he said, "If you want to eat, eat. If not, get out. Or do you guys want a free trip to the police station?" The thugs, seeing that their opponent was a cop, didn't dare do anything more. They cursed him as they walked away. Just as Zhao Wu was about to sit down and grab a bite, he heard Lai Beinei call out, "Zhao." At this moment, the team was getting ready to welcome the leaders sent by the province, and they told us to head back to the team right away. So the two of them quickly returned to the team, and the welcoming ceremony for Director Su went smoothly. Suddenly, Director Su asked, "I heard that there's someone named Zhao Wu in our department who has been solving some major cases. Do you know who that is?" Director Su followed the direction everyone was pointing to and quickly walked up to introduce himself, saying, "I just transferred here today, so we'll be colleagues from now on." Zhao Wu took a closer look and realized that this was the same person he had helped out at the hot pot restaurant earlier, so the two greeted each other warmly. The colleagues nearby watched the familiar interaction between the two and couldn't stop whispering, "How does he know the provincial leaders? Could he have connections there? The major crime unit is definitely full of surprises. Glad I haven't made any enemies with this big shot." A little while later, after a busy day, Zhao Wu was casually heading upstairs when he suddenly saw a group of thugs causing trouble in front of his neighbor's door. Zhao Wu's mind immediately started racing. Last time, Huo Ho's face got beaten up, it must have been them. But I don't care who they are, I'll just check things out. With that thought, Zhao Wu stepped forward and called out, "Hey, everyone. I'm from Brother Huang's team. Who are you guys with?" One of them immediately stepped forward and said, "This is Hong Jia from District C. Who the hell are you?" "Never heard of you." Zhao Wu continued, "So it turns out Hong Jia came in person. I heard people say that all the goods are at the biggest bar in Area C, but even Hong Jia can't get his hands on them." Hearing this, the group of thugs shouted angrily, "That's nonsense. We control all the goods there. Hong Jia has nothing to do with it." Zhao Wu quietly smirked to himself. The recording was done. He then smiled and confidently said, "Hong Jia is indeed a big shot. So if I cripple him, would my title as Brother Huang become famous, right?" After that, the sound of desperate cries filled the air. The two girls in the house had no idea what was happening. It wasn't until everything went quiet outside that they finally dared to peek out the door. When Zhao Wu saw their heads poking out, he spoke up, "I've already sent the recording to the police. They'll be here soon to arrest him." Just the illegal trade and forcing women into prostitution would be enough to put someone like Hong Jiao away for a long time. The two girls felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not knowing how to thank him enough for solving everything. Zhao Wu smiled again and said, "But I'm not doing this for free. You two should go take a shower and clean up, then come over to my place for a little relaxation package." At this, the two girls looked embarrassed. A little later, Jiang Xiao Qin arrived with Ying Ji, and they were on their way to Zhao Wu's house. Ying Ji arrived first and saw Zhao Wu sitting comfortably with beautiful girls serving him. Zhao Wu turned around and immediately noticed Ying Ji, her face full of awkwardness. Damn it, what are you doing here? Yingji was a bit awkward when asked. I already asked your supervisor for permission. We need you at our precinct to help with the interrogation of Jian Wenli's case, but you seem really busy. Zhao Wu, feeling embarrassed, quickly got dressed. Then he and Yingji headed out. As they walked, Zhao Wu suddenly found himself thinking that Yingji was looking more and more beautiful. He even thought about using his X-ray vision to take a closer look. Just as Zhao Wu was lost in his thoughts, Yingji noticed and annoyed asked, "What are you looking at?" Zhao Wu snapped back to reality. "Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about what will happen to Lin Maifeng now that the killer's been caught." Yingji took him seriously and responded, "Well, it's still a case of intentional murder, so we'll have to see how her family handles it. But her husband said he would hire the best lawyer to defend her, so there's probably still hope for her." A little later, the two of them arrived at a restaurant. Their colleagues nearby couldn't stop gossiping about the killer. My agent had a disability in his right leg and lived in the same village as Jian Wenli. His brother worked at Jian Wenli's family's textile factory and always knew that the family had money. He also heard from his brother that Jian Wenli and Liu Bangfi were supposed to be at the factory that night to check inventory, so they wouldn't be home. That's when my agent decided to break in and steal some valuables. What he didn't expect was that Liu Bangfi, in order to kill Jian Wenli, had planned for her to stay home that night to rest. My agent, who had come just to steal, was caught by Jian Wenli in the act. In his panic, he strangled her to death and then placed her back on the bed. By the time Lin Maifeng arrived, Jian Wenli was already dead, so she closed her eyes and stabbed the corpse several times. Suddenly, one of the colleagues curiously asked Zhao Wu, "Why do you think this case is related to the person who made the keys?" Zhao Wu confidently said earlier Lin Maifeng mentioned that when she arrived at Jian Wenli's house, the door was locked. So how did the killer get in? The lock wasn't broken, so the killer must have used a key. But where did they get the key? Of course, I suspect the person who made the key. After he spoke, Zhao Wu earned the admiration of everyone around him. Although Yingji found Zhao Wu's self-assured attitude irritating, he still praised him to flatter him. Officer Zhao thinks things through carefully with a quick mind. He's definitely a great talent for detective work. Then he teased, adding earlier, when I went to pick him up at his place, I saw both of his girlfriends. One was massaging his shoulders, the other was giving him a back rub. Must be nice. Zhao Wu thought to himself, is he complimenting me or making fun of me? Not backing down, Zhao Wu quickly responded, not at all. Team leader Miao is also incredibly skilled in martial arts. She's amazingly strong. Last time, when she beat me up, I had no strength to fight back. In the end, I could only manage to bite her on the butt. Hearing this, Yingji immediately blushed and kicked Zhao Wu out of the door. I never want to see you again. Zhao Wu walked down the street, feeling dejected. Looking at this godforsaken place, he couldn't even get a single ride. What was worse, she was the one who started the whole conversation, saying a few things and then suddenly refusing to continue. That idiot Yingji had to pick such a remote spot to eat. Zhao Wu saw two guys standing by the road and suddenly came up with an idea. He quickly walked over and called out, "Hey bro, you see that car over there? The girl driving it has been rude to me. Help me out, let's go to her car and I'll pee on it so she'll have to look at herself in the mirror. Once we're done, I'll give you 500 yuan, split between the two of you." The two men looked at Zhao Wu, thinking he was drunk, but they figure, who wouldn't take 500 yuan? I was about to go pee anyway. The man looked around to make sure no one was watching, then opened his pants. Just at that moment, Yingji came out. Seeing what was happening, she turned red with fury, rolled up her sleeves, and charged at him to hit him. The sound of Zhao Wu's screams echoed through the street. He couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. Suddenly, someone from the tea shop next door shouted, "Did I just hear Mr. Cao calling someone? Go check what happened to the car." Zhao Wu turned around and realized that the room and everything had seemed off. These people were smugglers. Then he saw a group of people with iron rods heading straight toward Yingji. Zhao Wu's heart raced in panic. Oh shit, there are so many of them. This is bad. This is really bad. Zhao Wu pushed through the crowd and saw Yingji struggling to defend herself. Just as one of the thugs with a chair was about to hit her, Zhao Wu rushed forward and kicked the chair away. Yingji, in the heat of the moment, felt a sense of gratitude. Is he helping me? From there, Yingji kept taking down thug after thug, knocking them down so hard that the two of them ended up back to back. But Yingji, thinking Zhao Wu was just another thug, unexpectedly threw an elbow at him. Zhao Wu took the full hit right to the head. Although Yingji immediately apologized, Zhao Wu wasn't happy. "You hit me again? Yingji, you were done for." With a dark expression, Zhao Wu continued to fight off the thugs and moved closer. In a daze, Yingji suddenly felt Zhao Wu pull her in by the waist and kiss her forcefully. Yingji's face immediately turned bright red, and she quickly pushed Zhao Wu away. The colleagues who just arrived shouted, "What's going on here? Why are so many people lying around like this?" Zhao Wu avoided Yingji and directly instructed, "Catch all these people. They're smugglers, and all the evidence is in the room ahead." Then he left. After being kissed, Yingji muttered to herself, "What a madman." As for Zhao Wu, after getting home, he couldn't stop blaming himself. "I'm such a jerk. If it weren't for me, she wouldn't have gotten hurt. I'm no longer that reckless guy who jumps into fights without thinking about the consequences." After taking a shower, Zhao Wu looked at his phone, then glanced up at his bed and was shocked to find Tu Wen lying there. The message on his phone read, "Sorry for troubling you, Officer Zhao. We're afraid the ones who haven't been caught from Hong Jia's gang might come back to take revenge. Could we stay at your place for a while?" Zhao Wu thought to himself, "Did they move in here? But I want to sleep in the bed too." He thought for a moment, then climbed into bed between the two women. But to his surprise, in the middle of the night, both women kicked him out of the bed. The time passed into the next day, and Zhao Wu carried his suitcase to a certain place. "I heard you're someone in the field. I have this bag of money. Can you help me figure out how much it's worth?" After checking for a while, his colleague was shocked and exclaimed, "My God, this is a lot. It must be at least 200,000 yuan, and it's all in sequential numbers. Wow, this money could actually be worth 5 times more than that." Zhao Wu was still wondering if the system was trying to help him get rich when he suddenly heard his colleague ask, "Where did you get this bag from?" Zhao Wu was confused. "Why?" His colleague yelled loudly, "This is ransom money. It's from a major kidnapping case, money that the families gave to the kidnappers. What connection do you have with them?" Hearing this, Zhao Wu didn't panic at all. He just casually responded, "Guess." At this point, his subordinate began to explain, 26 years ago, the wealthiest families in the town arranged for their children to attend better schools in the city due to poor local education. They hired a taxi driver named Liu Nian, who would drive the kids to and from school. One day, he was driving them home as usual, but they mysteriously disappeared in a tunnel. Their bodies were never found. After receiving this lead from Zhao Wu, a large number of police officers were deployed that very night to search the area and conduct a thorough excavation of the cave. "Attention units, the ransom money was found near this area. Check if there are any other clues nearby." Zhao Wu and the others also arrived at the site. The subordinate continued, 3 days after the car disappeared, the kidnappers contacted these 5 families and demanded 200,000 yuan from each family as ransom to release the hostages. But after the family handed over the money, the hostage, the suspect, and the ransom all disappeared without a trace. For the past 26 years, there has been no clue at all. Right now, the butterfly-shaped mark on the bag is missing a corner, just like the one he found. Jiang Jingfeng sighed again. In such a remote place, someone gets kidnapped, and then you find a major clue. Sometimes I wonder if my brother is some kind of god. At this moment, Zhao Wu also thought that there must be some sort of special circumstance. The system had been strange before. Why would there be so much money in these abandoned mining caves? Meanwhile, the colleagues searching were complaining, what could possibly be in this abandoned cave? There's probably nothing here. It's all a waste of time. Suddenly, another group of colleagues shouted, "Attention everyone, we've found something." Hearing this, everyone was stunned. The earth-shaking case from 26 years ago was being reopened. Journalists from all over rushed over to ask, "I've heard that people kidnapped 26 years ago have been found in the cave. Can you confirm if everyone has been found? Is there anything you can share with us right now? I've heard the city leaders have already arrived. The families of the victims paid millions in rewards to catch the criminals. Is that true?" Zhao Wu walked down the road sighing. Who would have thought that beneath that collapsed mine, a group of children had been buried for 26 years? At that moment, Zhao Wu arrived at a meeting to analyze a particularly serious kidnapping and murder case. During the meeting, it was reported that 5 complete skeletons had been found in the collapsed mine. After comparing DNA, it was officially confirmed that 4 of them were Liang Mili, 9 years old, Liang Shuan, 12 years old, Dao Xiao, 11 years old, and Liu Hongtang, 10 years old, all of whom were kidnapped that year. The remaining one was the driver, Liu Weiguang. As evening came, the parents of the 11-year-old Dao Xiao, who had been kidnapped earlier, also arrived. The family was deeply grateful and called out, "Officer Zhao, thank you. Thank you so much. Without you, my son might have been lost forever. To find his remains while he's still alive is all thanks to you. Please, you must find the killer." Later, Zhao Wu stood by the window deep in thought. The only person whose body had not been found yet was Liang Su, the 7-year-old. Could they really find her just based on the sketch drawn by an expert? Suddenly, Zhao Wu noticed that one office light was still on. Who could still be here at this late hour? He went over to take a closer look. It was Hu Ping. But on second thought, it makes sense. She has always been so dedicated to the case, never giving up on any hope. At this moment, Hu Ping noticed Zhao Wu arriving and jokingly spoke up, "Super Detective Zhao, what wisdom do you have for us today?" Zhao Wu laughed and replied, "I'm just here to learn." Hu Ping continued, "I may really dislike you as a person, but I can't deny your abilities. So tell me, what have you figured out?" Zhao Wu answered directly. Up until now, everyone thought the kidnappers were very well prepared because they didn't leave any obvious clues. But what if their kidnapping was actually an accident? Normally, after a kidnapping, the criminals would quickly call the family to demand ransom to prevent them from going to the police. But these kidnappers waited 3 whole days before making the ransom call, which increases the risk of getting caught. Also, usually kidnappers drive their own car to pick up the victim, but this time, the 6-seat vehicle used to transport the kids also disappeared. A 6-seat vehicle is pretty big. It's easy to spot. If it ran out of gas or broke down on the road, that would make things even more complicated. The experts have said that at least 3 kidnappers are needed for such a job. So with 5 kids and 1 adult in the 6-seat car, plus the 3 kidnappers, wouldn't that make it really cramped? Hu Ping felt that there was something unique about Zhao Wu's perspective. His starting point was really convincing. But if they were professional kidnappers, how could they have made the ransom call, collected the money, killed the hostage, disappeared, and done everything so perfectly? Zhao Wu smiled and continued, "You haven't kidnapped anyone, so it's normal you wouldn't know. Kidnapping is actually a highly technical job. I know people who have been in the kidnapping business, and honestly, no one can do it that perfectly. That's why I think these kidnappers didn't have any real kidnapping plan at all. Maybe at first, they just wanted to steal a car or grab some quick cash, but didn't expect so many people to be in the car." Hearing this, Hu Ping quickly responded, "I haven't kidnapped anyone, so does that mean you have?" Zhao Wu looked awkward. "What are you thinking? In our line of work, you kind of have to put yourself in the criminal's shoes sometimes." Hu Ping thought about it and agreed. He didn't seem like the type to have done such things. "So according to you, the driver Liu Wangguan was an innocent bystander. He wasn't working with the kidnappers." Zhao Wu continued to explain he and the kids from the same village even worked together on some private transportation business. There was really no reason for him to get involved in the kidnapping. But if the kidnappers from back then are still alive, they'd definitely be wealthy now. Hu Ping was a bit confused, so he asked, "Why is that?" Zhao Wu had to explain again. "Think about it. There's a bag of 200,000 yuan cash buried in that mine. Only they knew about it. If they were still living in poverty, do you really think they wouldn't be tempted to go back for it?" Hu Ping suddenly understood. Then we could start investigating from this angle, see if anyone related to those events back then is suddenly rich. Zhao Wu nodded. "Sure, we can do that, but the scope is huge and it won't be easy." Hu Ping, however, didn't want to give up. After all, as long as we kept investigating, there would be results. Hopefully those kidnappers were still alive. A little while later, Zhao Wu met with the forensic expert. Zhao Wu asked, "Got time for a drink?" The forensic expert replied, "Wait until you crack the case first, detective. Here's the report you asked for." Zhao Wu looked over the report deep in thought. The mine collapsed from an explosion, and the remains of 5 people showed signs of blast injuries. But for now, it was impossible to say whether they died from the explosion or were buried alive after death. There was a rope near the bodies, leading to the theory that the victims were tied up before the explosion, with the rope still on them when the blast happened. Liu Wangguan's body showed clear stab wounds, including a broken rib. Both sides had neat cuts. It's believed he was stabbed by someone before he died, and the stab wound was near his heart, making it highly likely that was the cause of death. Meanwhile, colleagues in the office kept teasing Zhao Wu. One of them said, "Hey, Zhao Wu, you solved that brutal murder case and even caught the culprit in the Chen case. You must be swimming in rewards by now, huh? Share a little with us so we can dream about it. You know, we all need motivation." Another chimed in, "People are even saying you found the ransom money and the family gave you a cut. Is that true?" Just as everyone was talking, they heard that the team leader had returned, and the chatter grew louder. Zhao Wu was growing increasingly frustrated. The constant chatter was distracting, and the topics, money and food, seemed trivial to him at the moment. In contrast, Hu Ping remained quietly focused on analyzing last night's case. Zhao Wu couldn't help but feel that some of his colleagues were not taking the work seriously. He raised his voice slightly, trying to keep composed. "If you're hungry, please step outside. Let's try to keep this area quiet so we can concentrate on our reports." Its comment caused some tension in the room. Just then, Director Liao walked in, shaking his head and sighing, "What's happening now? Are we starting another disagreement?" Director Liao approached Zhao Wu and said with a touch of humor, "Come with me for a moment, young man. We need to talk." Hearing this, a few colleagues exchanged surprised glances. Wait, did the director just call him that? Is Zhao Wu somehow close to the director? Zhao Wu, meanwhile, looked puzzled. Who is this man really? He wondered. He asked calmly, why does the director want to talk to me? Director Liu replied in a measured tone, I just want to help. You need to relax and stay focused. Don't let small frustrations get to you. Zhao Wu was left momentarily speechless. Not long after, Zhao Wu found himself standing at the location where years ago a ransom exchange had once taken place. As Zhao Wu was deep in thought, his subordinate kept calling him. Zhao Wu snapped back, nearly losing his balance. Why are you shouting so loudly? The subordinate quickly explained, I've called you several times already. What are you thinking about? Zhao Wu replied, I was thinking about the moment when the family arrived at the cliff and the walkie-talkie that the kidnappers left behind went off. This means at least one person must have been keeping an eye on the family. They were told to stand inside the red circle the kidnappers had drawn, throw all the money in the same spot by the cliff, so someone had to be waiting below the cliff to catch the ransom as it fell. Another person must have been in charge of guarding the hostage. Zhao Wu continued before team leader Ku Ping mentioned that they could get the ransom under the police's supervision using walkie-talkies to avoid being tracked, and even disable the tracking devices in the ransom money. This means they must be very familiar with the police's investigative methods. Either he worked in the police system or has police friends. The type of explosive found in the mine shaft was a kind used for blasting mountains, commonly used in mining areas. Some of the kidnappers likely had experience working in mining demolition. Suddenly, Zhao Wu's phone rang. The voice on the other end said, let me play the thug. A little while later, Zhao Wu arrived at the restaurant and immediately pressed the thug leader's head to the ground. You guys are a bunch of idiots who don't understand the rules. You're out here starting trouble, not even afraid of getting your heads bashed in. Do you even know who you're messing with? Open your eyes and take a good look. I'm with Mr. Huang, and that guy over there is the red-faced General Su Yi, who paid you guys to come mess around at this restaurant. Don't tell me you don't know who I am in this area. The thug immediately answered, it's the guy with glasses. His name is something like Xiao Ma Shao. We're not really close, don't even have his phone number. They just gave us 200 yuan each and told us to chase people away. Zhao Wu cursed, you idiots. I ever defy Long was offering 20,000 yuan, and Xiao Ma Chao got you guys for just 200. How much did he pocket from you? Don't you get it? All right, fine. Leave the money and get out, Zhao Wu said. As soon as the thugs heard they could leave, they handed over the cash and immediately took off. Afterward, Zhao Wu and Su Yi sat down to enjoy some drinks together. Su Yi couldn't help but compliment, you're good at this. You made it sound so real, even I almost believed it. Looks like I'm the red-faced General Su Yi in the underworld now. Zhao Wu grinned and replied, look at those guys. They're total rookies, no real background in the underworld. Su Yi laughed and continued, earlier when you said that, I'll take it as you agreeing. Before that, Su Yi had invited Zhao Wu to join the disciplinary committee to work as a special investigator for the internal inspections. In situations like this, Zhao Wu could use the name of the major case team to cause some trouble and throw in a case or two to make things a little more difficult for them. Oh, I didn't expect your police tactics to be so devious, Zhao Wu commented. What are you talking about? Aren't you a cop too? Right now, the only way to deal with them is to fight fire with fire. Let go of the small fry to catch the big fish and wait until I've got enough intel on their internal connections to take them down all at once. Thankfully, I got you here or I would have exposed myself. Zhao Wu could only laugh. So you came to this city to investigate, right? Is the head of the inspection department in the bureau one of them? Su Yi nodded. Exactly. You just dub up the name Xiao Ma Shao. That's a pretty big lead. I didn't expect you to play the thug role so well. You're really good at making life difficult for people. Zhao Wu didn't mind. So you're saying I actually look like a thug, huh? Just as they were chatting, Zhao Wu suddenly had a thought. Wait a second, professional and expert? That makes me think of someone. He quickly stood up and hurried off. I've got to go, but we'll keep in touch later, Zhao Wu said as he left. Su Yi watched Zhao Wu walk away feeling speechless. He had never finished a meal with that guy. A little while later in the prison which housed all the serious criminals, Zhao Wu went to seek Xiao Hai. This man had a history of kidnapping. He was the murderer behind a kidnapping case where two of his accomplices were shot dead. He had been involved in many kidnappings before and could be considered an expert in the field. Because the hostage suddenly died of a heart attack, Xiao Hai was sentenced to life in prison. Xiao Hai, I'll be straightforward with you, Zhao Wu said. Under what circumstances would you kill a hostage? Xiao Hai immediately showed an aggrieved expression. Isn't everything about my case already clear? I kidnapped that girl because she had a heart condition. It wasn't our intention to kill her. Kidnapping is about money. Who wants to kill someone? Seeing this, Zhao Wu broke into a cold sweat. Don't cry, calm down. I'm handling another case and came here to ask for your advice on a few things. I'm not here to reopen your case. Plus, if you help us, it might actually work in your favor for a reduced sentence. Hearing this, Xiao Hai honestly began to explain. I know about that case. There are many reasons why kidnappers might kill a hostage. Like if the hostage sees the kidnappers' faces and they're afraid of being caught, or if the family doesn't cooperate or calls the police, leaving the kidnappers with no way out. Some people have heart conditions or they might get hurt trying to escape. But I don't think this case falls into any of those categories. The kidnappers in that case are definitely out of their minds. They're able to harm so many children, take the ransom money, and still kill a hostage. No sense of morals at all. On top of that, the driver was completely useless. Why even kidnap him? They were going to take a kid anyway. Why not just let him go to warn his family or give him a knife, use his blood to scare the parents, and tell them to hand over the money? If it were me, I wouldn't have brought along a young guy like that. He's just asking for trouble. Hearing this, Zhao Wu immediately thought, could it be that the driver of New Wigwam had some other secret? A little later, Zhao Wu went to see Yang Wendao, the inmate involved in the Gaishan Reservoir murder case that he had arrested earlier. Yang Wendao was also a bit curious. What can I do for you? What does the kidnapping case have to do with me? Zhao Wu got serious and asked, I want to know what's the story behind the mine you hid in? Yang Wendao honestly explained, a few years ago, the mines at the mountain behind were leased to private individuals. If you had money, you could invest in at least a few mines to try your luck. If you found silver, it was like hitting the jackpot. You could make 100 times the profit. If nothing can be dug up, losing all your wealth is just part of the deal. That mine on the map is just a deserted pit. You can't get anything from it. I didn't even know about it before. I only went there because you chased me until I couldn't see straight. Zhao Wu kept asking, who built the wooden fence? Yang Wendao shook his head and replied, I don't know. It's been there for years. Zhao Wu asked again, do you know who took over the mine? Yang Wendao said it was some newly rich guy. The year we started the project, we needed approval from whoever held the rights, but we finally found him. He'd been dead for a long time, and it was a pretty brutal death. His whole family was wiped out. I think his name was Cheng Sanli. After the questions, Zhao Wu immediately went to see Ku Ping to discuss things. I'm wondering if this Cheng Sanli might have been involved in the kidnapping. Maybe after he got the money, he took over the mine, but then had some falling out with his partners, which led to his whole family being destroyed. Ku Ping thought about it and agreed. This theory could make sense. I'll send someone to look into this guy. Of course, that's why you're so great. You even know how to get information from criminals. Zhao Wu quickly responded, this isn't the first time you've seen what I'm capable of. All right, enough with the bragging. You get one compliment and already you're acting like a show-off. And so, the two of them wrapped up the day, chatting and finishing up work. Until early the next morning, the sound of a phone ringing woke Zhao Wu from his deep sleep. After answering the phone, Zhao Wu froze, his body going numb. The phone slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. When he arrived at the scene, Zhao Wu could hardly believe his eyes. You're all worthless. What the hell are you doing? Get her to the hospital now. Everyone stood silently, their heads lowered. Zhao Wu stared at the scene with tears in his eyes. This was the place where his team leader, Ku Ping, had tragically died. Ku Ping isn't dead yet. Why are you all just standing there? Hurry, save her. Suddenly, the curator stepped forward and slapped Zhao Wu hard across the face. Calm down, Zhao Wu. Ku Ping is really dead. The slap snapped Zhao Wu back to his senses. At that moment, his colleagues were preparing to transport the body to the police station for an autopsy to determine the cause of death. With slow steps, Zhao Wu walked over and tears streaming down his face gently lifted Ku Ping's body and left. A short while later, the police immediately began analyzing the case of Ku Ping's death. One of his colleagues said, at around 1 a.m. last night, team leader Ku Ping had an accident while driving home. There are clear signs of a sudden brake near the car, but there was no visible damage or scratches on the vehicle. Our current theory is that when she passed the area where the incident occurred, she saw someone on the road, so she braked suddenly and got out to check. But she was attacked by that person who stabbed her and stole her bag. Unfortunately, Ku Ping's car didn't have a dash cam. The road where the incident happened was under construction, and the surveillance cameras were down, so there's no footage of what happened. The person who killed Ku Ping did so during a robbery gone wrong. He originally just wanted to steal a little money, but after a confrontation with Ku Ping, he ended up stabbing and killing her. After hearing the report, Zhao Wu didn't think it was that simple. It was definitely more complicated than that. If the killer was after money, seeing her in uniform would have made them turn and run, but she was stabbed until she bled out. If it was an accidental killing, would there really be so many stabs? No, this looks like premeditated murder. Suddenly, Zhao Wu's pupils contracted. Could this be related to Cheng Sanli, the person she was investigating in the case yesterday? Before she could think more, the coroner spoke up. It's strange. Even though team leader Ku Ping was stabbed multiple times, the fatal blow came from behind. The knife went straight into her heart, bypassing the heart's protected bones. The killer must be a professional. Another colleague continued with the analysis. From the scene of Ku Ping's murder and the evidence found in the trash bin, a bloody knife with Hu Meng's fingerprints on it. I know him. He's a regular at the station. He's been in prison before for robbery and illegal gun possession. Take a look at his police file. The nearby surveillance footage shows him at the scene, and he was even holding Ku Ping's bag. At that, a group of colleagues angrily rushed off to capture Hu Meng. But Zhao Wu couldn't understand. The murder weapon was found a kilometer away from the body, even though Hao Meng had appeared less than a kilometer from the scene. However, he didn't have a knife on him. What's more, his condition made it look like he had either drunk too much or used some kind of drugs. Ku Ping, after all, was in law enforcement. If Hao Meng could barely stand, how could he have killed Ku Ping? This meant there must be another killer at the scene. With that thought, Zhao Wu felt an intense urge to find the real murderer as soon as possible. By the evening, the team trying to capture Hao Meng was getting frustrated. We've searched all the places Hao Meng could be hiding, but we still haven't found him. Right now, he's probably either at the internet cafe where his girlfriend works or with his buddy, Jai Shanhe. If we don't find him in the next 24 hours, we'll be stuck. Zhao Wu looked at the photo of Ku Ping and asked, "Did you investigate Cheng Sanli last night?" One of his colleagues responded, clearly embarrassed, "Yes, we did, but we didn't find anything, so we left." At that point, I could tell Captain Ku Ping wasn't feeling well. She wanted to drive herself home, but I thought if I'd insisted on driving her, this wouldn't have happened. The colleague was filled with regret, but it was not the time for that. Zhao Wu stared at Ku Ping's photo, thinking to himself, I won't let you die in vain. I will not only investigate this cold case to the very end, but I also have to catch the person who killed her. After that, I'll speak up and confirm. I've come up with a way to force Hao Meng out into the open. Who among you is willing to help me? At this point, Zhao Wu directly ordered a group of thugs to interrogate the suspect's girlfriend. When the door was kicked open, the lead thug arrogantly said to Zhao Wu, "Boss Zhao," she confessed. Hao Meng called her this morning, admitting to what happened, saying he wanted to run away and asked a guy named Ji Shanhe for help. After hearing this, Zhao Wu only asked, "Did she confess?" The thug replied, "She did. She must confess. Her mouth is stubborn, and if we don't break her legs, she won't talk." The thugs understood. When you're acting, you have to go all the way. Even the police who were monitoring Hao Meng's girlfriend were under control. Without turning around, Zhao Wu said, "Don't worry, I'll quickly bring them all to light." The thugs behind him all shouted in unison. "Since the boss said so, we'll follow him to the end. No matter what it takes, we'll get it done. Leave the rest to us." When Zhao Wu got back to the car, a colleague who had been following him reported, "Hao Meng's girlfriend really did lie to us." After the incident, the two of them clearly had contact with each other. I heard that the person named Ji Shanhe has some influence both in the underworld and in society. He definitely has a lot of people working for him. We've interrogated him before, and he stubbornly insisted he had no connection to Hao Meng. Even now, after leaving today, he's sure to stay silent. So, what should we do? Zhao Wu only asked one question. Who among you is carrying a gun? Then the four of them, Zhao Wu and his team, stormed straight into the casino, stood still and said, "Police are here. Everyone cooperate." Jai Shanhe looked at the police barging in and arrogantly shouted, "I've ruled the underworld for years, and I've never left any trace for the police to catch me. Even your leaders have to show me some respect. What do you small-time cops think you can do?" Jai Shanhe relied on his many followers and completely ignored Zhao Wu and his team. But Zhao Wu wasn't bothered by that. He simply threw a punch. Jai Shan, he didn't expect this man to be so bold. Zhao Wu lifted his foot and got straight to the point. "Where is Hu Meng?" That's when Jai Shanhe's men finally reacted. "Are you crazy? You dare hit our boss?" Jai Shanhe screamed, "I told you already. Do you even know who you're messing with? Just wait, I'll deal with you later." Seeing his men getting ready to make a move, Zhao Wu signaled, and his colleagues immediately fired warning shots. Zhao Wu aggressively said, "We're here to arrest the murderer who killed the head of the criminal investigation team. Anyone who dares to interfere, I'll treat it as obstruction of justice and shoot you on the spot. If you're not afraid of getting hit, then come at me." As soon as those words were spoken, everyone hesitated and stopped moving forward. Zhao Wu then continued, "Jai Shanhe, you're a smart guy. Without orders from above, do you think a couple of small-time cops like us would dare come after you? Since you're being so difficult, you might as well live the rest of your life as a cripple." Jai Shanhe realized that Zhao Wu was about to step on him and quickly begged, "Officer, please listen to me. Believe me, I don't know where Hu Meng is, but I can help you find him." At those words, Zhao Wu's anger exploded. Even now, you're still trying to play games with me? Without a second thought, he kicked Jai Shanhe's leg, breaking it, and then lifted his foot, ready to crush the other one. It was at that moment that Jai Shanhe truly understood how serious the situation was. He shouted in panic, "Please no, he's at the Lu warehouse." While it was Zhao Wu had uncovered Hao Meng's hiding spot, the area was just too vast. His colleagues immediately notified the captain to call for backup. While Zhao Wu and the others were still figuring out how to locate Hao Meng's exact position, Hao Meng suddenly appeared from behind. The colleague immediately recognized him and shouted loudly, "Stop! Hao Meng!" Hao Meng, seeing this, didn't hesitate and immediately ran away. Zhao Wu and the others chased after him without stopping. At that moment, Hao Meng suddenly ran into a warehouse. Zhao Wu and the others reached the door and looked at each other confused. Wasn't this like catching fish in a net? Suddenly, a series of blinding lights flickered on. Zhao Wu was startled and wondered, is this another criminal hideout? Hao Meng immediately shouted, "Stop, they're the police." At Hao Meng's shout, everyone in the hideout rushed forward. Zhao Wu led the charge, crashing into the group and punching one of the criminals in the face. He quickly shouted, "You all go after Hao Meng first." Suddenly, a man from behind grabbed Zhao Wu. Zhao Wu threw him off with a violent push, but was caught off guard when another person struck him on the head with a club. Blood started pouring from his forehead. Zhao Wu angrily turned to face the attacker. As everyone worried, Zhao Wu grabbed the broken club. Its colleagues immediately sensed something was wrong. Without hesitation, Zhao Wu stabbed the club into the man who had hit him. The man let out a painful scream. Just as the attacker screamed in agony, another person rushed at Zhao Wu with a machete. Zhao Wu quickly pulled out the broken club and stabbed it straight into the man's stomach. The screams at the scene grew even louder. The remaining people, witnessing this, were so terrified that they froze and didn't dare move. Zhao Wu fully embraced the behavior he had in his past life. In this world, only those who were ruthless could stand firm. Wherever Zhao Wu went, everyone dropped their weapons. With that, Zhao Wu slowly stepped out the door, holding a cleaver in his hand. A little while later, Zhao Wu caught up with his colleague, who immediately informed him Hao Meng ran off in the other direction. There aren't any cars nearby, so he probably hasn't gone far. Zhao Wu suddenly spotted a motorcycle at the corner of the street. Without hesitation, he used a multi-tool lockpick to start the bike. Before the engine could even roar to life, he heard gunshots from nearby. Zhao Wu immediately rushed over and asked, "Are you all right?" "Where's Hao Meng?" Its colleague quickly responded. "Hao Meng is up ahead. He has a fake gun and shot me in the leg. Be careful, don't let him get away." Upon hearing this, Zhao Wu immediately sped off in pursuit. By this time, Hao Meng was starting to tire. He glanced back and saw Zhao Wu closing in on him. Deciding to go all in, Hao Meng drew his fake gun, closed his eyes, and fired a shot. After opening his eyes, Zhao Wu saw that the person in the car was gone. Suddenly, the motorcycle began moving on its own, and with a swift tail whip, it knocked Hao Meng to the ground. Hao Meng lay on the ground, crying out in pain. At that moment, Zhao Wu, still wearing his invisibility suit, grabbed a can of gasoline and threw it directly at Hao Meng. Of course, Hao Meng couldn't see Zhao Wu. In his panic, he was knocked unconscious by the blow. Back at the police station, Zhao Wu grabbed the leg of a young woman and called out, "Dr. Wang, can you be a little gentler? I'm a living person, not a corpse." Dr. Wang replied seriously, "I can't do that. How else would I be able to stitch it up? But you should still go to the hospital for a full checkup. If there's anything else wrong, don't just brush it off." Zhao Wu answered, "I'm fine." But when he turned around, he noticed that the team leader was still staring at him. The team leader, seeing this, explained, "I have to keep an eye on you, just in case you cause any more trouble for me." Suddenly, several well-dressed men in uniform walked in, all of them raising their hands to salute Zhao Wu, showing their respect. On behalf of the entire Team B and team leader Ku Ping, I want to thank you for your brave arrest of the criminal. Honestly, I didn't like you before, but that's changed now. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask." Zhao Wu responded calmly, "Don't say that. She's also my friend." Just then, one of the men called out loudly, "The chief wants to see you." A while later in the chief's office, Zhao Wu shouted angrily, "Why was I suspended?" The director explained, "You're abusing your power, hiring people to attack the suspect's girlfriend, obstructing the detectives carrying out the law, and even breaking the legs of the casino owner. 12 people in the warehouse were seriously injured, 5 are in the hospital, and 1 is still in critical care. Do you think your actions make you look like a police officer?" Zhao Wu, confused, called out to the director, "There were over 40 of them, and we only had 3 people. Last night, they were trying to corner us and kill us. We were acting in self-defense." The director shouted angrily, "Stop making excuses. We're police officers. We have to think about the consequences before we act. We can't just do whatever we want. Zhao Wu, unwilling to accept the situation, said before Captain Ku was killed, she was investigating a case from 26 years ago. Her death is likely linked to that case. The only video we have from the scene shows Ho Mang leaving, but none of him arriving. He didn't have a weapon on him, and the weapon showed up in a trash can a mile away. This means he must have had accomplices. There's probably someone else behind Ho Mang. This person seems to know everything about Captain Ku's actions, and it can't be an ordinary person. They may even be from inside the police department. This case absolutely has to be investigated by me. The director called out to Zhao Wu again. You need evidence to solve a case. Do you understand? The indictment against you is already on its way. If it were for you catching Ho Mang, you'd already be locked up in the police station. I've already gotten an earful from my superiors. Not firing you already shows I'm being as merciful as I can. Hearing these words, Zhao Wu's temper flared up and he couldn't hold back anymore. He kicked the desk in front of the director and flipped the bird, saying, if you won't let me investigate, then I don't want to do this anymore. That night, Zhao Wu dreamt of Ku Ping sitting at the dinner table. Zhao Wu quickly asked, why are you here? Ku Ping casually responded, where else should I be? Who knows? Maybe you really wanted to have this meal with me. Zhao Wu was embarrassed. I'm sorry. If it weren't for me sending you to investigate Cheng Sanli in that case. Ku Ping interrupted, don't be so self-centered. How do you know it's because of that case? Zhao Wu said firmly, I will definitely catch the person who killed you. No matter how many people it takes, I will bring them all to light. Okay, then I believe you. At that moment, Zhao Wu was lying in bed, tears flowing uncontrollably. The next day, at Ku Ping's memorial service, her husband was holding your son and crying loudly. The boy kept calling out, Dad, Dad, why hasn't Mom woken up yet? Please wake her up to play with me. Seeing this scene, Zhao Wu felt a deep pain in his heart. No matter what it takes, I have to get back to the police team and investigate the case from 26 years ago. No matter what the truth is about her death, I will never give up. Suddenly, a phone rang. Zhao Wu picked up the phone. Zhao Wu, there's a car at 11 o'clock. I want to meet with you alone. Come here quickly. When Zhao Wu arrived at the car, it was actually Director Liu who stepped out. Director Liu didn't explain anything. He simply opened the back door. Zhao Wu took one glance and immediately recognized it was Captain Kim. Captain Kim, dressed in hospital clothes, shouted loudly, what are you standing there for, kid? Help me out of here and take me to pay respects to Ku Ping. Then Captain Kim asked, how did Ku Ping die? Just as Zhao Wu was about to answer, Captain Kim's slipper fell off. Without hesitation, Zhao Wu picked it up and put it back on for him. A moment later, Captain Kim just tossed the slipper away. Zhao Wu was now really irritated. Can you move your feet? You were just ordering me around like a servant. Captain Kim yelled, Zhao Wu, put it on for me quickly. Even though Zhao Wu was very frustrated, he obediently put the slipper back on. Seeing this, Captain Kim immediately hit Zhao Wu on the head with a flower. Hurry up and push me back. I want to go back to the car. Zhao Wu was completely confused, thinking to himself, is this old man mentally unstable? After a while, once Captain Kim had left, Director Liu took out a notebook and handed it to Zhao Wu. Mr. Kim said if he returns to the car on his own, this notebook will be cremated with him. But if you push him back, this notebook will be yours. Zhao Wu is so hard to understand. What's wrong with him? Director Liu, looking heavy-hearted, explained, he has bone cancer. He had to have both his legs amputated. He probably has no more than 4 months to live. He doesn't want to suffer anymore. Upon hearing this, Zhao Wu felt a weight in his chest. Director Liu continued, this notebook records high-level national cases, all of which are cold cases that Mr. Kim personally worked on years ago. He no longer has the strength to investigate them. He believes you're the successor he's been looking for. He sees his younger self in you. So kid, how does it feel to carry this burden? Zhao Wu chuckled and said, you old foxes, trying to pull me along, forcing me to risk my life for you guys. Just as Director Liu reached for the notebook, Zhao Wu quickly snatched it away. I've always hated evil with a passion. I'm someone who wants to help justice win, so how can I let murderers roam free? But the last time you came to my office showing off, I thought something was off. But turns out you needed a favor. Too bad, I'm suspended by old Zhu now, so I can't do anything. Can you help me get my position back? Director Liu replied, where's the suspension notice? Without the paperwork, how can we even call it a suspension? Director Zhu just wanted to teach you a lesson. Do you have any idea how many bullets he took for you? If it weren't for him protecting you and keeping you around, you'd probably be handcuffed by now. That guy, Manhwa, keeps attacking you nonstop. Recently, he's been using every connection he has to get you thrown in jail. When Zhao Wu heard this, he was furious. Damn it! Let's see how I handle this reckless bastard today. Chief Liu was worried. This is a sensitive time. Don't act on impulse. Zhao Wu quickly waved his hand. Don't worry, I know my limits. He'll definitely back down. After I finish these 2 big tasks, I'll make sure to fulfill Mr. Kim's wishes. That evening, Zhao Wu went to a tea house to meet the owner. He asked, "Is this tea expensive? I want to buy a box to give to our chief. What do you think?" Guy Chunhua, though scared of the man in front of him, still had the confidence of being in his own territory. He replied arrogantly, well, Zhao, you got some guts. Coming here all by yourself." Zhao Wu, holding the tea box and pretending to be friendly, said, "Mr. Gu, I came today to make peace and turn our animosity into friendship. Let me treat you to a meal. What do you say?" Guy Chunhua didn't even care, speaking with no respect. "Now let me break your legs and you can kneel and apologize to me. Then maybe I'll consider it." Hearing this, Zhao Wu realized there was no point in talking anymore. Suddenly, Guai Chunhua and his men began receiving calls being told that some of his workshops were being investigated by the police, but this blow didn't make Guai Chunhua back down. On the contrary, Guai Chunhua arrogantly shouted, "Zhao Wu, don't think that by doing this, I'm afraid of you. I've got money, and I'm not short of a few shabby factories like those." Hearing this, Zhao Wu sneered, stepped forward, and poked a finger at Guai Chunhua's forehead. "I've already got your soul. It's best for you to behave, or you'll suffer the consequences." When Guai Chunhua heard this, he thought the guy had lost his mind. Zhao Wu just laughed and walked out. A little while later, at a dog meat restaurant, Guai Chunhua got a call from Zhao Wu. Zhao Wu said, "Mr. Guy sure is living it up, eating dog meat. Are you looking for someone to deal with me? You've got Matai liquor and Cuban cigars too. 2 men and a woman, all dressed like VIPs. Ha." When Guai Chunhua heard this, he immediately realized something was off. Could this guy be spying on him? He looked around, but what he didn't know was that Zhao Wu was using hidden surveillance equipment to track him. Zhao Wu continued, "Don't bother looking, they're not there. They're on you. That guy in a plaid shirt is a judge, right? The girl with glasses looks familiar. She's Wen Zhu from the prosecutor's office. And that guy with no beard is a lawyer." Guai Chunhua was now completely panicked. He quickly hung up the phone. He immediately ran to the bathroom, stripped off all his clothes to check if there were any surveillance devices. But to his surprise, Zhao Wu called. "Hey, boss guy, you don't have to be that careful. Looking for surveillance devices? Your skin's pretty pale, huh? There's even a mole next to your belly button." Furious, Guai Chunhua hung up the phone. A little while later, he wearily dragged himself home. His wife, smiling, said, "You're back? It's so late, but you still managed to find your way home." Suddenly, a call came in on his wife's phone. When Guai Chunhua answered, Zhao Wu said, "So, you think hanging up the phone is going to fix everything? Your wife's quite a looker, huh? How about I live stream a little show of you two getting intimate for the whole world to see?" Hearing this, Guai Chunhua couldn't take it anymore and threw the phone across the room. The next day, Zhao Wu showed up at Chief Zhu's office with a smile, carrying tea from Guai Chunhua as an apology. "Chief Zhu, I misunderstood you before and broke your cup. Here's a replacement. Now, Guai Chunhua has dropped the lawsuit against me. So does that mean I can go back to work now?" Chief Zhu, at a loss for words, muttered, "This kid. Why does he always talk so boldly?" Zhao Wu, with his usual shamelessness, continued, "Zhao Wu here knows when I'm wrong and will make it right. I'm loyal and grateful. You've been good to me, and I'll never forget it. In the future, I'll be ready to risk my life for you." Director Zhu, clearly not in the mood to talk much, added, "The new captain of the Major Crimes Unit just arrived. You two should get to know each other." Zhao Wu turned around and saw Officer Yin Ji coming to report in. As soon as Zhao Wu saw her, he felt uneasy. It was like they were meeting each other with the regret of not having known each other sooner. Zhao Wu forced a calm greeting, and Captain Biao responded with the bare minimum. As they walked down the hallway, Zhao Wu stared at Captain Biao's back, his mind racing. He couldn't help but wonder, did I cause some trouble, and now she's been sent here because of it? Or maybe she's been reassigned because of me? The moment the topic of the earlier forced kiss came up, Captain Biao's face turned dark with anger, and she immediately launched a kick. Zhao Wu reacted quickly and dodged, but the force of the kick was so strong that it shook the walls, startling some colleagues in the office next door. They thought there had been an earthquake and rushed out to check. To their surprise, the wall Captain Biao had kicked was actually smoking. Zhao Wu, sweat pouring down his face, quickly said, "This is our new captain. Everyone, please say hi." A little later, Zhao Wu went to the second precinct, preparing to interrogate Hou Meng. As soon as he walked in, a staff member asked, "Are you with the second precinct? Hou Meng is being questioned by your colleagues right now." Zhao Wu picked up the list, glanced at it, and sure enough, it was her. "Looks like we're on the same page again," he thought. Then Captain Miao stepped out of the interrogation room. Zhao Wu called out to her, "Didn't have lunch yet? Let's go grab something to eat together." Captain Miao thought Zhao Wu was following her, and without hesitation, turned and walked away. Zhao Wu immediately blocked her path. I bet you didn't get anything useful from the interrogation. I know people like him best, and someone with his kind of addiction couldn't possibly have killed anyone from the major crimes team. Captain Miao didn't understand what he was getting at. Zhao Wu asked her to remember the time she had interrogated Liu Bangfi before. Thinking it over, Captain Miao realized that it had been Zhao Wu's help that made that interrogation successful. Zhao Wu saw her go quiet and knew his plan worked, so he said, "Looks like our second round of teamwork is starting." When they both entered the interrogation room, Hao Meng was clearly annoyed, asking if they were done yet. "I've already told you everything. What more do you want from me? And that old woman over there made you bleed." Hearing this, Captain Miao was furious and stepped forward. "I think your wound is healed by now." She was about to throw a punch. Zhao Wu immediately pulled her back. In the struggle, Zhao Wu kindly reminded Hao Meng to shut up. But to his surprise, Hao Meng shot back. "Zhao Wu isn't some good guy either. Last time, he broke my leg." Seeing how disrespectful he was, Zhao Wu let go of Captain Miao and greeted Hao Meng. Of course, it's just another round of Captain Miao's punching bag treatment. When the anguished cries finally stopped, Hao Meng finally settled down. Zhao Wu began to move forward with his work. "I hope you speak clearly. If he didn't kill anyone, we'll help you," Zhao Wu said. Hao Meng started recounting everything. "That night, I did take the drugs, but I don't remember anything. I don't even know if I killed anyone." Zhao Wu reminded him, "When I first caught you, did you only see the car and not me? That's because I hypnotized you, which is why you acted that way." Upon hearing this, Hao Meng felt that this person might be able to help him. Seeing his reaction, Zhao Wu took out a lie detector. "Just answer yes or no," he instructed. After a few questions, Zhao Wu confirmed that Hao Meng had not killed anyone. It seemed he wasn't even an accomplice. He had just been used by someone. Furthermore, he hadn't gone to the scene alone, and even if he hadn't known what was happening, Zhao Wu could still figure out the truth. Then Zhao Wu started asking about the case, but the system warned him not to ask anything unrelated to the case. Seeing this, Zhao Wu could only make educated guesses. He then continued to ask about the number of people involved in plotting against Ku Ping. When Zhao Wu asked, "Are there more than 10 people who want to harm Ku Ping?" the lie detector turned green again. Zhao Wu was stunned. How could so many people want to harm her? What had Ku Ping done? He turned to Captain Miao and said, "I already know the answer." Seeing Zhao Wu turn and leave, Captain Miao quickly followed. What had he found out? Zhao Wu confirmed, "My goal and hers are different, and the reason she came to this second precinct isn't as simple as it seems, right? I think we should cut down on the tricks between us. Now, can you finally tell me the truth?" Yingji let out a sigh and then seriously stated, "When I told you, you were already deeply involved with me. The outcome might be the same as Ku Ping's. Before coming to this precinct, Ku Ping had investigated a very dangerous case, and this death is connected to it. I was sent here to investigate secretly. Now that you know, it's too late to regret. If you're looking for someone to blame, you can blame yourself for being too smart. But it's fine. With your help, we can catch the spy together." Hearing this, Zhao Wu teased, "Such a dangerous situation, there's no way you do it without some benefit, right?" Yingji knew exactly what he meant and smiled, saying, "If you help me complete this mission, I might consider going on one date with you." Zhao Wu felt uneasy. After all this risk, she was only offering one date. Before he could say anything, he suddenly felt something bulging on his head. A little while later, Zhao Wu arrived at the house of some workers to investigate the case of Cheng Sanli. Cheng Sanli had once been a powerful business owner who monopolized the building materials market. Later on, the market collapsed, his factory went bankrupt, and debts piled up. His wife, overwhelmed by the debt collectors, hanged herself. His eldest daughter was killed in a car accident, and his youngest son, Cheng Guangming, ended up in prison for causing harm to others. After hearing this, Zhao Wu whispered to himself, "This really matches what that inmate said." Suddenly, the phone rang and Yingji appeared as well. Zhao Wu looked at her, puzzled, as she handed him a cute pig-shaped watch. The watch had a GPS system, could only make calls, and was designed so that no one could eavesdrop on it. "Now, you and I are connected, tightly bound together." "It's for your safety," Yingji said. She then asked, "Are you still investigating Cheng Sanli's case? Didn't your people already give up on it? They said he was so rich back then, there's no way he could have been involved in that kidnapping." But Zhao Wu still trusted his instincts. The death of Ku Ping is definitely connected to Cheng Sanli's case. It's not just a coincidence, and I believe that once I understand his relationships better, I'll be able to uncover something, Zhao Wu said. Seeing Zhao Wu's determination, Yingji had no choice but to offer to team up with him, agreeing to investigate Cheng Sanli's case together. After hearing this, Zhao Wu was very happy. She was still the most reliable person. "Driver, take me there quickly." A few hours later, Zhao Wu overheard a conversation between Yingji and her mother, and she was startled. How important was Yingji's mother? Anyone who laid a hand on her would be immediately transferred. She was definitely someone you couldn't mess with. So the last time I forcefully kissed her, wasn't that even more dangerous? Then Zhao Wu heard the sound of water, so he guessed she was probably taking a shower. He felt a pang of regret. Why didn't I set up a camera? It was driving him crazy. Zhao Wu fell asleep, and in his dream, he saw Yingji just finishing her shower. Zhao Wu, wearing an invisible cloak, went up to her and pushed her down. The next moment, he tried to undress her, but for some reason, the clothes wouldn't come off. At that moment, Zhao Wu woke up, realizing that even in his dreams, he couldn't get any satisfaction. A while later, the two of them arrived at the suspect Han Wen-jun's house to inquire about the situation. From the looks of it, Han Wen-jun was indeed very wealthy. He had previously worked with Cheng Sanli and had even been the leader of the survey team, familiar with explosive techniques. Also, the kidnapping case from years ago definitely involved someone with expertise in explosives who had buried the hostage inside. Yingji was really curious. There was clearly no record of Han Wen-jun in the police files. How did he manage to track him down? Zhao Wu immediately explained, I believe the hostage died in Cheng Sanli's mine, which means the killer was probably someone who had worked for him before. I started from Cheng Sanli's connections, one person at a time, and eventually I traced it back to Han Wen-jun. Yingji reminded him, if you're investigating, don't forget about one person, his youngest son, Cheng Guangming. He was the closest to him. When Zhao Wu heard closest, his mind wandered back to a morning daydream and he moved closer to Yingji, saying, I dreamed about you last night. Yingji, confused, asked, what was I doing in your dream? Zhao Wu smirked and confirmed, I dreamt you were taking a shower. Yingji, raising an eyebrow, asked, and besides the shower, was there anything else you dreamed about? As she spoke, she pinched Zhao Wu's stomach. Zhao Wu ran off, confirming quickly, I only dreamed about you taking a shower. The scene shifted to the interrogation room. The person in front of them was Cheng Guangming, who had been sent to prison for stabbing Xia Gang multiple times, resulting in a 10-year sentence. The thing about Xia Gang was that he was the mastermind behind the destruction of Cheng Guangming's family, causing it to fall apart. He had been a rising star, suddenly gaining a lot of business ventures in a short time, competing with our family. He'd rather take a loss than let our family live in peace. In the end, he forced my father into bankruptcy and regularly sent creditors to harass and beat us. My sister was severely harmed by people they hired, and later, this so-called car accident was clearly premeditated. After that, my father fell gravely ill, and my mother passed away under heartbreaking circumstances. I was completely devastated. Seeing my entire family gone, I reached a breaking point. I felt that unless I confronted him once and for all, I would never find peace. At that time, the anger consumed me. After hearing Cheng Guangming's heartbreaking story, Zhao Wu asked, did Xia Gang suddenly come into wealth? Cheng Guangming thought back carefully. It seemed to be around 1995 when he suddenly rose to success and started opposing our family. From what we've gathered, Xia Gang's turning point came 5 years after the kidnapping case. There's a possibility he used the ransom money to start his business. Some even believe he might have profited from questionable financial dealings. Suddenly, Chang Jingfeng discovered an old photo. In it, it was clear that Xia Gang, Han Wen-jun, and Cao Yang were once teammates. Now, Xia Gang and Han Wen-jun had thriving careers, but Cao Yang had passed away after struggling with mental health issues. A signature on a related document bore the name Cao Can, who turned out to be the mother of a child involved in the kidnapping case. Interestingly, Cao Yang had also once been involved in the local medicinal herb trade, the very place where the ransom exchange had reportedly taken place. All the clues were connected. Cao Yang was familiar with the terrain and could evade the police pursuit, while Han Wen-jun was skilled in demolition techniques, and he was the one who killed the hostages in the cave by setting off explosions. Xia Gang, a former local police officer, knew the police's methods and could easily handle any issues with surveillance equipment. But what left everyone puzzled was why Cao Yang would kidnap his own nephew and even kill him. It's very likely that this was the reason he lost his sanity. Yingji immediately gave orders to send people to investigate Cao Yang's situation in the psychiatric hospital, check on Cao Can, and uncover the relationship between the three of them and Cheng Sanli. Then the captain secretly invited Zhao Wu outside. Zhao Wu thought Captain Miao wanted to go on a date with him, but Captain Miao raised her fist and was about to punch him, saying she wanted to have a serious conversation while he just kept joking around. Zhao Wu, still not giving up, said, "It hurts when you hit me. How about we meet up one evening and talk it through? I'll even let you hit me in a soft spot." Captain Miao pinched him on the backside, laughing, and replied, "Fine, tonight it is." Who would have thought that among the kidnappers involved in the child abduction case, one of them would be the child's own uncle? How could he go so far as to hurt the child and eventually kill him? This question kept bothering Captain Miao and Zhao Wu, who still couldn't figure it out. Even though they were the real kidnappers, they still didn't have any evidence to arrest them. Zhao Wu, who had just been pinched on the butt, continued to grumble beside him. Captain Miao noticed and, without hesitation, hit Zhao Wu on the butt with her fan again. Zhao Wu immediately gave in. Right, that's true. It's all just our speculation, there's no solid proof. Plus, now they're all doing well in business. They'll definitely hire the best lawyers to defend themselves. From time to time, Captain Miao would strike him again. It was clear that they needed to come up with a more proactive strategy. Zhao Wu gave her a side eye and asked, "Got any bright ideas?" Captain Miao smirked and said, "It seems like they all have grandsons and sons. Maybe we should target them. Or you better come up with something fast." Zhao Wu looked at the woman in front of him, feeling uneasy. Why does she keep thinking of these mobster-style methods? But then again, he had to admit, there was something to what she said. Why did Cao Yang kidnap his own grandson in the first place? If the three of them had just planned to steal a car, they definitely didn't expect his grandson to be inside. When Cao Yang saw his grandson, he was probably shocked. After realizing the car belonged to a rich family, the two others decided to steal both the car and the kid. To cover their tracks, they had no choice but to kill him. Cao Yang must have argued with the other two. After the murder, the pain of killing his own grandson drove him to a mental hospital. Two other guys were using the ransom money to grow their business. After a while, Captain Miao grabbed Zhao Wu's ear, waking him up. "What's going on?" Zhao Wu yelled. Who would be cranky right after waking up, especially someone as hot-tempered as Zhao Wu? Captain Miao snapped. "The team's been working overtime all night, and you're the only one passed out like a log." Zhao Wu thought to himself, this guy can just move his mouth and get people to do whatever he wants. Can't mess with him, can't mess with him. He started back down. The colleagues who saw this thought, wow, they really are a perfect match. They complement each other well. Later in the afternoon, Zhao Wu went to Tao Jia and Zhang Ji's engagement party. He saw his ex-girlfriend there, but he didn't feel anything anymore. After all, the Tao Jia in this life wasn't the same Tao Jia he had known. When Tao Jia saw Zhao Wu, she was genuinely happy to see him and even suggested he be the godfather of her son. The two chatted and laughed when suddenly a voice came from behind. They turned around and it was Xia Gang. Zhao Wu immediately felt a jolt in his heart, but then laughed and said, "Just thinking about it, and here he is." Then a middle-aged man stepped forward and said, "I don't have much time." He quickly added, "I'm interested in your wife. Name your price." At that moment, his useless son came running up and called out, "Dad, I'll handle my own matters." "Can you handle it yourself?" By the time you're done, the person you like might have already moved on to someone else. At this moment, Zhao Wu finally understood. It turned out that his son had feelings for Tao Jia and currently considered himself her fiancé. "Well then, let's see how I perform," Zhao Wu said confidently, stepping forward. "I'm not greedy, just 8 million yuan. Tao Jia, irritated, pinched Zhao Wu's arm. "Stop making a scene. Are you seriously trying to sell me?" On the other side, the rich uncle smirked, pleased with himself. "See, this is how people are. For 8 million yuan, you can sell your woman." He said this while pulling out a check. What he didn't realize was that this was exactly the plan. Zhao Wu had to expose his true intentions. Zhao Wu stepped forward and loudly declared, "The chairman of 2G Corporation is actually engaging in something as immoral as selling women. Aren't you ashamed?" Xia Gang calmly replied, "Watch your words, kid. It's easy to shut you up like crushing a bug. I suggest you take the money and leave before you get yourself into more trouble." Zhao Wu confidently introduced himself. "I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Officer Zhao Wu from the 2nd Division. Recently, I've been in charge of investigating a kidnapping case from 26 years ago. I can't accept this money. If I take dirty money, how can I continue investigating Cheng Sanli, Han Wenjun, and Su Yang?" Xia Gang's face immediately changed. "You little brat, just wait," he said as he turned around and walked away. Zhao Wu's hand, holding the invisible listening device, froze in midair. Before he could attach it to the target, a woman suddenly rushed up and hugged him. "Who's this handsome guy?" "Tao Jia, why didn't you introduce me?" The moment he heard the noise, Zhao Wu felt a heavy force pushing down on him. He stared at the woman in front of him with her full chest, and instead of feeling pleased, he cursed inwardly. The listening device was still floating in the air. He had no choice but to attach it to this random woman. Luckily, he had already attached a camera to Xia Gang earlier. If he couldn't hear the sounds, at least he could still see the images. The woman calmed down a bit, picked up the phone that had been knocked over, and looking apologetic, handed it to Xia Gang's son. Wait, the image on this phone. Zhao Wu grabbed the phone. Hey, what are you doing with my phone? Zhao Wu pointed at the woman on the screen and asked, Who is this? What's going on? That's my mom. Zhao Wu stared in disbelief at the phone. The woman looked exactly like the reconstructed image of Liang Su at 33 years old, which the police had previously collected. Eve the Mole was in the same spot, so he kept asking, Then where is she? Where is she now? When I was 1 year old, she passed away from illness. Why are you asking about this? Zhao Wu furrowed his brows, still not understanding what Liang Su had to do with his mother. Inside the office building of the company, Xia Gang expertly entered the office's security code. Zhao Wu observed every move of his. He casually noted down the passcode, then saw Xia Gang making a series of phone calls. Zhao Wu, anxious, couldn't hear what he was saying, but saw him throw a cup to the ground. The man's body shook uncontrollably as he searched through the desk drawer, clearly looking for something. What is he doing? Zhao Wu thought, his heart racing. Is he trying to commit suicide, or is he planning to kill someone? Then Xia Gang hid the gun behind his back, slowly revealing a hidden room behind a bookshelf and stepping inside. Moments later, a woman with long hair appeared on the bed, bathed in light. Zhao Wu became excited. He couldn't believe Xia Gang was hiding a beautiful woman in his office. But as soon as Zhao Wu got a clear view of her face, a cold shiver ran from his feet up to the top of his head. The woman was Liang Su, the one who had been missing for 26 years. This bastard had been hiding her here. Was he planning to kill her? Late at night, Zhao Wu drove quickly down the road, watching the images of Xia Gang and Liang Su on the surveillance screen. His heart burned with anxiety. Right now, there was no evidence in the case. They couldn't do anything to Xia Gang. Liang Su was the only surviving hostage from that time. She was the only piece of evidence left. If Xia Gang kills him and disposes of the body, it would be a huge problem. Just now, he overheard someone on the phone, but who was it? Who made him suddenly develop such murderous intent? Zhao Wu started to think and eventually zeroed in on Han Wen-jun. It was someone from Han Wen-jun's family who told him that the police had arrived, but there was no evidence pointing to Liang Su. The police team couldn't send anyone to help. He was on his own. Frowning, Zhao Wu, in a moment of urgency, noticed the watch on his wrist. He remembered Ying Ji once saying they could track his location, and that gave him an idea. Ying Ji was still working overtime at the department. His phone rang. The moment he picked up, he heard Zhao Wu's frantic voice. Captain Biao, hurry. I found Liang Su. Come here right away. Before she could respond, there was the sound of a struggle in the background. Damn it, who are you? Damn, let go of each other. After that, everything went silent. On the other end of the line, Ying Ji called out to Zhao Wu, worried but got no answer. Little did she know this was all part of a scene Zhao Wu had staged. He put on his camouflage gear and headed straight for the building. In his heart, he prayed that Ying Ji could find someone to help him. Outside the building where Xia Gang was, 2 guards stood watch. Suddenly, the automatic door opened and the 2 guards were so startled they broke out in cold sweat, thinking it was a ghost. Once Zhao Wu made it inside, he realized there were more guards in front of the office door. The invisibility suit only worked for 5 minutes, and if he didn't act fast, it would be too late. The only option left was to use force. Zhao Wu gathered all his strength and punched one of the guards. The other guard did react in time, completely clueless about what was happening. As his partner fell to the ground, he too was hit with a heavy blow. After taking care of the 2 guards, Zhao Wu quickly typed in the door's lock code from memory. The door opened and the invisibility suit lost its effect. He didn't have time to worry about that anymore and quickly stepped inside. At this moment, Liang Su had already finished her shower and stepped out, expecting to be met with affection. But to her surprise, she was greeted with a hot metal coin. Just as Xia Gang was about to take action, Zhao Wu rushed over and kicked him. Trying to kill someone to cover up your tracks? You're done, he said, quickly subduing Xia Gang. Then a loud explosion rang out, and Zhao Wu's shoulder suddenly erupted in blood. As he fell to the ground, he turned his head and saw Liang Su, wrapped in a towel, holding Xia Gang's gun in her face blank, pointing it at him. Zhao Wu, completely confused, asked, I came to save you. Have you been brainwashed by Xia Gang? Liang Su still held the gun aimed at Zhao Wu, frozen in place. Xia Gang, all up from the floor, yelled at her with wide eyes, Shoot him! Kill him! Terrified, Liang Su trembled. Xia Gang jumped up from the ground and snatched the gun from her hands. At that moment, he didn't want to kill Zhao Wu anymore. His target was the only witness, Liang Su. If Liang Su died, there would be no one left to testify. Zhao Wu couldn't wait another second. He quickly stood up and kicked Xia Gang. Fortunately, the gunshot had only hit the ceiling. Liu Su had been knocked to the ground, and Tia Gang, realizing the situation was getting out of control, immediately turned and ran. Zhao Wu, fearing for Liu Su's safety, turned back and asked, "Are you okay?" He quickly helped her up, relieved to see signs of life, which meant it probably wasn't anything serious. Then he took off his jacket and draped it over her. Because her pajamas were too thin, he stood up and rushed after the direction Xia Gang had run. Suddenly, a loud explosion rang out. Xia Gang was thrown several meters back, landing flat on his back. Zhao Wu stood frozen in shock, staring at the door. The person who arrived was none other than his trusted partner, Ying Ji. In that moment, Zhao Wu felt a rush of confidence. He was about to wave in greeting when Ying Ji charged forward. Zhao Wu barely had time to react before he was knocked down by Ying Ji. Before he could even process the shot, he heard the sound of gunfire. Zhao Wu had been pinned to the ground by Ying Ji, and before he could feel any relief, Xia Gang's bodyguards stormed in. Zhao Wu turned around, pushing Ying Ji down beneath him. He leaned in close to her ear and softly whispered, "Stay still, don't move." Then he quickly turned his head to grab the concealed bulletproof vest before heading out. The gunman fired wildly at Zhao Wu, but he wasn't hurt. "Dan, what's going on?" "The bullets hit, but he's not even reacting," one of them said in disbelief. While they were still stunned, Zhao Wu reached the front, grabbed two heads and smashed them together. Ying Ji quickly got up, grabbed Zhao Wu by the collar and shouted, "Are you out of your mind? Why'd you charge in like that? Are you hurt anywhere?" Zhao Wu smirked casually and replied, "Almost died. Lucky you got here so fast." Before he could even gloat for 3 seconds, Ying Ji punched him in the head. "Stop talking nonsense." What's really going on here? Liu Su is inside, and Xia Gang has kept her locked away in a secret room for 26 years. But how did she get here? Did she come alone? Ying Ji explained that since there was no search warrant, she had to act on her own for now, and the others would arrive later. As she spoke, she took off her jacket and used it to bandage Zhao Wu's wounds. With her jacket off, Ying Ji was left in just a small tank top, and Zhao Wu couldn't help but notice the way her chest moved, his heart skipping a beat. "You're really worried about me," he teased. Ying Ji wasn't in the mood to deal with him. "In a situation like this, you're still talking so smoothly. I give up on you."